Yeah, today should be fun. Today should be fun. Guys, welcome in. Welcome in. Lot to do. Wow. We have a lot in store for you today, and I think it's an important show. I didn't want to oversell it, so I just dialed it back a little bit on the social media promotion. I just sort of eased into it a little bit, but I think it's a very important show. And I think there's a lot that we're going to cover today that are going to potentially raise some eyebrows. Raised mine. Guys, welcome in. Welcome in. We have an opening that probably more so than most other openings ties directly into the content. So as I'm going through the opening, I need you to listen extra cautiously, extra carefully. It's a story that needs to be told, for one. But it's a story that has so much application in terms of you can't criticize somebody who runs a charity. You can't criticize somebody who sit down, you people, sit down. And what we're going to get to that. So opening is excellent. Content, in my opinion, is very important. Kind of conscience shocking, but very important. But I have something to start off with. This is interesting to me. This is one of our best listeners, Adfleet, made me look jacked in a new video, and I want to show a piece of it. I don't want to show the whole thing because I want you to go watch it. I want you to go watch it where she puts it up. But I want you to see this because she made. I cannot encourage you guys enough to go check out her work. Adfleet over ADFLEET over at YouTube. But I just had to show it. I was so buff in those things. Oh, new hoodie, by the way, new hoodie. I took your guys' advice and went to Costco. They have Adidas hoodies on sale. Not the Essentials collection, a little wider in the shoulders, but that's okay. Very soft, very comfortable. A great hoodie, great hoodie. This is actually blue, despite what my studio lighting is doing to it, adding a little purple element. But anyway, okay. We've had enough. Second thing. Man, the trolls are out in full force. I am getting hit with more people from Twitter with under 200 followers than I ever have in my life. It's insane how these people will come in and just throw bombs, and they've got these weird numbers, weird names. They got like 139 followers. Look, I had 139 followers at one point. I'm not making fun of that. What I'm saying is it doesn't lend a lot of credibility when you walk into someone's place and you just throw bombs, right? That's not very convincing. So don't feed the trolls. It's not necessary. But I am working on these shoulders. I'm going to look like Adfleet wants me to look one day. I'll be right there. Really got me juiced up. Juice to the gills. All right. Let me get into this opening statement because I think it's great. If I'm being humble, if I may humbly say that, I think it's fantastic. And more importantly, I think it has tremendous application to the rest of the show today. Tremendous application. So I need you to pay careful attention. Some of you will recognize the topic with my first two words. Let me get one more swiggle off of this tea before I get going. That's Ahmad tea number one. Excellent. All right, ready? Here's your opening statement. Jerry Sandusky was born Gerald Arthur Sandusky in 1944 in Washington, Pennsylvania, perhaps a bit ironically the same hometown as Lori Frantzve. She was Lori Abbas at the time. Well, more on that later. Sandusky was one of the most prominent assistant coaches in college football history before his life unraveled in one of the most infamous and horrific scandals the sporting world has ever known. As a longtime assistant coach at Penn State, he was instrumental in building the Nittany Lions' defensive prowess under Hall of Fame head coach Joe Paterno. Sandusky's career spanned decades. He was known for his collection of accolades, his charitable endeavors, and a reputation as a mentor to youth. However, in 2011, revelations of his serial abuse of young boys shattered his image, leading to his conviction and imprisonment. Sandusky's early life was rooted in a family dedicated to community service and athletics. He was the only child of Arthur Sandusky, a Polish immigrant son who spent over 30 years directing youth programs at the Brownson House in Washington, Pennsylvania. Arthur managed recreational facilities. He founded the Pennsylvania junior wrestling program, even coached a Pony League baseball team to a world championship in 1955, and was inducted into the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame in 1989. His mother was an Irish Catholic homemaker with a coal mining background. At Washington High School, Jerry Sandusky excelled as a multi-sport athlete in baseball, basketball, and football. He led his junior high basketball team to an undefeated season and earned a reputation as a studious, popular student who, despite being the school's major sports star, avoided dating. Sandusky attended Penn State University and played defensive end for the Nittany Lions from 1963 to 1965. He graduated first in his class and got a Bachelor's of Science in Health in 1966, and later earned a second degree in physical education in 1970. In 1966, he married Dorothy Gross. Together, they adopted 6 children while also serving as foster parents. The family was described as traditional, with Dottie often taking a leadership role. 2 of their sons pursued football-related careers. John Sandusky became the director of player personnel for the Cleveland Browns, and E.J. Sandusky served as an assistant coach at Westchester University. Sandusky was active in church. He went to St. Paul's United Methodist Church and State College. It served to further bolster his image as a community pillar. However, later events cast shadows over his family, to put it mildly. One of his adopted sons, Matt Sandusky, alleged at Jerry Sandusky's trial that Jerry Sandusky abused him while he was growing up. Another son, Jeffrey, was convicted in 2017 of assault charges for abusing a minor. Those charges were completely unrelated to his father's criminal case. Jerry Sandusky's coaching career began fairly modestly, but he eventually grew to become one of the most notable defensive coordinators in college football. He started as an assistant to legendary coach Joe Paterno in 1966, eventually rising all the way to defensive coordinator in 1977. He remained in that position for 23 seasons until his retirement after the 1999 season. Under his guidance, Penn State's defense became legendary. He earned the moniker Linebacker U. His strategies contributed to national championships in 1982 and 1986, and he was honored as Assistant Coach of the Year in both 1986 and 1999. He authored several books on coaching and even wrote an autobiography in 2001, admittedly weirdly titled Touched, the Jerry Sandusky story. Upon retirement, he received a $168,000 lump sum payment and emeritus status, crucially granting continued access to university facilities. The privilege of accessing campus facilities at will later proved, to put it mildly, be awfully controversial. When he was coaching, Sandusky founded a charity called the Second Mile in 1977. The charity was founded as a group foster home for troubled boys in State College, Pennsylvania. That's where he lived while working for Penn State. It evolved into a statewide nonprofit organization that provided mentoring, educational programs, and support for at-risk and underprivileged youth. It aimed to prevent delinquency and poverty. The charity grew significantly. It served thousands of children through camps, foster care initiatives, and community events. And the charity did not fly under the radar. In 1990, for example, President George H.W. Bush highlighted the charity as a shining example in his 1,000 Points of Light volunteerism campaign. In 2002, U.S. Senator Rick Santorum awarded Sandusky and his wife the Angels in Adoption Award for their foster care efforts. The organization's honorary board included notable figures like NFL coach Dick Vermeil and Andy Reid, Philadelphia Phillies owner Ruly Carpenter, broadcaster Matt Millen, actor Mark Wahlberg, golfer Arnold Palmer, and Steelers legend Franco Harris. Sandusky remained deeply involved post-retirement, using an office in Penn State's facilities until 2011. His fundraising efforts were robust, but later questioned when it was revealed missing records from 2002 to 2003 raised questions about oversight. Tragically, the Second Mile became the vehicle through which Sandusky met and groomed many of his victims, and he used the charity as a pipeline to identify and condition victims. In the coaching world, Sandusky was revered as a tactical genius and a humanitarian. Colleagues and players praised his innovative defensive schemes that emphasized discipline and aggression. At one point, he was the obvious successor to aging head coach Joe Paterno. Sandusky embodied the grand experiment philosophy that balanced athletics with academics and character development. His charity work enhanced his aura. He was viewed as a selfless advocate for youth, and he seamlessly blended his professional success with philanthropy. The media portrayed him as a church-going, family-oriented man who dedicated his life to helping children. There was no hint of darkness in his life that lurked just beneath the surface. The reverence for Jerry Sandusky persisted until 2011, when the allegations against him first surfaced. The allegations alone instantly transformed the public perception of him from nearly perfect to a nearly certain predator. The downfall began in 2008, when a student at Central Mountain High School, located just a few miles from Sandusky's office at Penn State, reported to authorities that Sandusky had abused him. This prompted an immediate investigation by the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office. The grand jury was impaneled in 2009, leading to Sandusky's indictment in November of 2011. He was indicted on 40 counts of crimes against 8 boys from 1994 to 2009. Key evidence included a 2001 incident witnessed by graduate assistant Mike McQueary, who reported the incident to head coach Joe Paterno. He reported seeing Sandusky assaulting a 10-year-old boy in the football team showers. Paterno reported what he was told to athletic director Tim Curley and senior vice president Gary Schultz. Curiously, no police report was filed. Even more curiously, Sandusky retained his privileged campus access after the report. Additional charges followed on December 7th, 2011, involving 2 more victims, and he was arrested shortly thereafter. In a November 2011 interview with Bob Costas on NBC, Sandusky admitted to showering with boys and also admitted to physical contact, but denied illegal intent. Sandusky claimed he enjoyed young people's company, but in a legal manner. This prompted more victims to come forward, including claims from as far back as the 1970s. Jerry Sandusky's trial began in June of 2012. Prosecutors presented testimony from 8 victims detailing abuse in locker rooms, Sandusky's home basement, and in hotels. The testimony included excruciating details about the nature of the violations. Victim 1 described over 20 incidents alone from the years 2007 to 2008. Victim 4 recounted frequent abuse over 3 years, including a contract for continued contact between the two. Mike McQueary testified about the 2001 shower incident. On June 22nd, 2012, after just 21 hours of deliberation, the jury convicted him on 45 of the 48 counts against him. Jerry Sandusky was 68 years old when he was sentenced to 30 to 60 years in prison and a minimum of 30 years behind bars. Appeals for a new trial were denied in 2013 and 2023, and a third petition filed in 2025. The scandal's ripple effects included the Louis Freeh report in 2012, which criticized Penn State leaders for concealing abuse in order to protect the program's image. The fallout from the Freeh report led to firings, NCAA sanctions, and settlements totaling over $93 million paid out to 33 victims. The Second Mile charity, the charity Jerry Sandusky had established to reach out to young boys, it dissolved in 2012 amid a collapse in support. Curley, Schultz, and the university president Graham Spanier all faced charges, and some were convicted for child endangerment. Paterno was fired in November 2011. He died a couple months later in January 2012. Sandusky's case fascinates me. It's for a simple reason. Prior to the 2008 report, prior to that initial report of abuse, had any outsider prior to that pointed out oddities in Sandusky's charity works and how he constructed his charitable efforts in a way that ensured he had consistent and persistent access to young and vulnerable children, that outsider likely would have been pilloried and accused of maligning and slandering a good and decent man. Instead, we were forced to wait for a victim to gather the courage to finally blow the whistle on Jerry Sandusky. How many children could have been saved from egregious abuse had someone taken the time to dig into his past and dig into his charitable efforts? When someone, anyone sets up a charity dedicated to having close and continued access to vulnerable young children, there must be oversight. The operation must be thoroughly examined. It cannot go unnoticed. It cannot be assumed that every single person involved has pure motives for these types of charities. Some of them, perhaps a lot of them, don't. And that is your opening statement. It's, again, like I said, it's a fascinating case to me. I won't go as far as saying it's one of the most important child cases in the history of the world. I won't say that, but I will say it is a lesson that needs to be learned. And I want to keep that lesson in mind as we go through tonight's show, because what we're going to uncover is a lot of weirdness, a lot of what looks like hiding stuff, what looks like, we'll get into it. I just want you guys to know kind of where we're headed. And I want to say there was a viewer on the Discord that sent Daisy some information about the name of an organization Lori Frantzve had opened in 2020 called the American Center for Freedom, but she had done it strangely, weirdly, in her maiden name. And we don't know why. But it allowed the charity to go under the radar because nobody was looking for anything formed in 2020 under the name Lori Abbas. Everybody was looking for things under Lori Ginta, which was her married name, Lori Frantzve, her professional name. I mean, she hadn't used Lori Abbas since 1969. She got married in 1969, did away with Lori Abbas, and has not used the name since, except on this organization. So I'm going to roll through these. I want you guys to see what I see on these documents. I want you not to take my word for it. This is the formation document here for the American Center for Freedom. The American Center for Freedom. We're going to come back to this guy. This was filed by a guy named Jaco Booyens. I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to make it a little bigger. There we go. This Jaco Booyens, whatever his name is. We'll come back to him. Just trust me, he's there. He's going to play a big role in today's program. We'll get there. But here you have Lori Abbas, director number 3. You also have John Duplay, and we'll get to him in just a second. And don't forget, all the way down here, we have Donald Hoffman. We'll get to him in just a second. But this is a nonprofit corporation formed in the state of Texas, the American Center for Freedom, with a guy named Jaco Booyens, and it's Lori Abbas. Very strangely, Lori Abbas, not Lori Frantzve, not Lori Ginta, not Lori, any of her other names. Can't remember them all off the top of my head. And as you probably will not be surprised, the American Center for Freedom, as so often happens with Lori's entities, the American Center for Freedom is shut down by the state of Texas for a tax issue. Secretary has received certification from the Comptroller of Public Accounts of the Texas Tax Code, indicating there are grounds for forfeiture of the taxable entities charter. And so they shut it down. So it was only open a couple of years. But in those couple of years, they raised quite a bit of money. So who are these people? Who all's involved in this? Well, we know Lori Abbas. We've been talking about her. That's better known as Lori Frantzve. But if you'll remember, the other directors were a guy named John Duplay. Who's John Duplay? Well, I've got his LinkedIn page right here. So John Duplay is the VP and FSO at E3 Tech. You'll know E3 Tech is one of Lori Frantzve's companies. Crucially, he's in Arizona. Lori's in Arizona. Duplay is in Arizona. There was another name, Donald Hoffman, who was the organizer of this endeavor. Donald Hoffman is also known to Lori Frantzve by way of yet another LLC that she opens here. E-Force One. E-Force One. Donald Hoffman right here. Donald Hoffman, here are your principals, Lori Ginta, Michael Mallory, Brian Kennedy, Donald Hoffman, and Lori Frantzve. Curiously, not going by Lori Abbas on this document. This was filed in the spring of last year, spring of 2025, about a year ago today. This was filed about a year ago. eForce One LLC. We don't know what it does. We just know it exists, and we know this Donald Hoffman is connected to Lori Frantzve through that entity. So just to show you where we're headed, we have this charity. It's a nonprofit in the state of Texas, American Center for Freedom, but everybody involved in it except for one person is based in Arizona. One of them goes by Lori Frantzve in real life, but on this document, for whatever reason, she goes by her maiden name that she's not gone by since 1969. So let's go to their 990, because this is what you do when you look at charities. You look at their 990. So what were they doing? Were they raising any money? They were shut down for a tax issue in Texas, but were they actually raising any money? Well, yeah, they were. This is the American Center for Freedom right here, Arlington, Texas. We got Jaco Booyens here. If we slide down here to page 8, we can see that they actually have staff. They have staff. They have somebody named Erin Elmore, who is the executive director, but she's only working 15 hours a week. We're not sure what else she does, but she's making, $37,500. And here we see the board members, Jean Duplay and Lori Abbas, still using the maiden name for some reason. But if you look at this, they were raising around $300,000, give or take, right here. Total revenue, $300,000. They spent about $171,000, give or take, which means they had a little money left over at the end of the year. No word yet what happened to that money. No word yet where that money was spent. The 990 is pretty vague, but at least we know they're filing taxes. This is something that, or filing tax forms. This is something that Romanian angels, everyday heroes like you, has never done. They've never raised or spent more than $50,000, whereas this organization raised $300,000 the first year. Well, who is Erin Elmore? We met Erin Elmore. She is the executive director of this entity. Who is Erin Elmore? And how does she know Lori Abbas? Well, here's Erin Elmore right here. She is on the TPUSA page. She's listed as a contributor, the executive director of USA Strong. I don't know if you guys can read that, but she is the executive director of USA Strong, a grassroots organization looking to rebuild America's middle class. And she looks like she writes some articles here about the Supreme Court, about, whatever, TikTokers, parents, gender rights, and all. I mean, just routine red meat for the right wing. But she is on the Turning Point USA page, meaning she's some kind of a contributor. That's what she does. What is she doing today? Because we know in 2020, she was serving at least part-time as executive director of this new charity that Lori Frantzve, going at the time for some reason by Lori Abbas, had opened with a few other people. What is she doing today? Would you be surprised to know she is now running under a new last name because she just got married? She's now running the Director of Art in Embassies at the U.S. Department of State. I didn't know that was a job. But apparently the federal government, your tax dollars finance an entire department dedicated to making sure our embassies around the world, 100 and however many of them there are, close to 200 of them, have good art. Erin Scavino, formerly Erin Elmore, she is the director of that. It says here she's an attorney, a journalist, and a philanthropist. I don't know how you become a philanthropist in your 20s, early 30s, but she has. You know who else is a philanthropist? Erika Kirk. That's right. She's also listed from time to time as a philanthropist. Good job, class. Good job. There'll be a test at the end of this. There's a quiz. How did Erin Elmore become Erin Scavino? Well, she married Dan Scavino. Here as the wedding album from Mar-a-Lago, as Dan Scavino marries Erin Elmore. You'll notice here people like Elon Musk at the event, Laura Trump. That's Stephen Miller here, an aging and slightly portlying Steve Miller. We got Marco Rubio here in oversized shoes. There's Marco Rubio. That's right. We've got Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump Jr., the president of the United States in a halo. So this is a big deal. This is not a small wedding. How many of you can say not only the President of the United States came to your wedding, but the sitting Secretary of State, the sitting Secretary of War? That's a big wedding. But that's who she is. That's who she is. But you have to ask yourself in a situation like this. You can't just accept everything at face value. How do we know that? Look at Jerry Sandusky's charity. It looked good at its face. On its face, it was a guy wanting to help out kids. My goodness, who could be against that? Well, we've got to ask who all these people are involved in, because I don't trust Lori Frantzve at all, especially when she's going by Lori Abbas, a name she hasn't used in 31 years. So we had to look at who is Jaco Booyens. Jaco Booyens. Now, don't get Jaco confused with the city Jaco that we talked about in Costa Rica last week, where there's all kinds of transportation of minors. Let's not talk different Jaco. This is Jaco Booyens. Who is Jaco Booyens? Well, a couple of things you'll notice right out of the gate if you go searching for him in any capacity whatsoever is he is a frequent speaker at TPUSA events and has been for quite some time. This is Jaco Booyens talking at the Student Action Summit in 2018. It's right here on the thing. I'll let you listen to him for just a moment.
Broad daylight. Let me tell you something. When a 15-year-old sells sex 15 times a day, that's no longer a human being.
I don't know if you can hear that, so I'm going to stop it. But that's him talking in 2018 on the at the Student Action Summit in. I think the Student Action Summit's always in Florida, right? It's got palm trees. Surely it's in Florida. He was also speaking at a TPUSA event in 2019. This is a speech at the Jewish something summit. What's this called? Jewish Leadership Summit. The 2019 TPUSA Young Jewish Leadership Summit. I didn't even know there was such a thing. Shows how little I know. But here is Jaco speaking at that. Let's see if we have better volume on this one than we did on the last one.
1,000 American kids per day, today, sold for sex. Not immigrants. That's a whole different number. Today, in New York.
Now, you'll notice he's wearing like a yarmulke back here. I don't know if you can see it. It's a blue one. It's a Turning Point branded yarmulke or kippah. I'm not sure what they call it these days. You're going to learn in a minute, this guy's a Christian pastor. He's not even Jewish. He's a Christian pastor. But there he is on the stage talking at the Young Jewish Leadership Summit, complete with Ben Shapiro gear in his hair. I thought that was fascinating. That's the only reason I wanted to play that clip was to get about 6 seconds in to see that. So that was 2019. Later in 2019, Jaco Booyens once again on the stage for TPUSA at the Young Women's Leadership Summit, a confirmed speaker in Dallas, Texas, June 6th through 9th, 2019. So this guy is not unknown to TPUSA, but you know who was unknown to TPUSA at the time? Erika Kirk. Erika Frantzve. She just met Charlie at the end of 2018, allegedly. She met Charlie in September of 2018. They didn't even really start dating immediately. They didn't get engaged until 2020. She was still living in Manhattan. This guy's speaking all over the country. So we keep digging on this guy because there's something here and I'm not sure what it is. I just get a weird feeling looking at this guy. He just strikes me as odd. So I zoom in here and I see that he is the lead pastor at Mercy Culture, Washington, D.C. Interesting. Lead pastor at Mercy Culture, Washington, D.C. This is Jaco Booyens. Served on a charity with Lori Abbas for a couple of years. Lead pastor. Well, we found his wife. Her name's Philippa Booyens. She'll play a role in this show today as well, so we'll talk about her real quickly. She also is listed here as Mercy Culture, Washington, D.C. She also has this After Eden talent. So we have to, what does that mean? What's After Eden? We'll get into that. But this is his wife, Philippa Booyens. Well, what else do we know about Philippa? Would you believe it that Lori Frantzve goes into the charity business and the guy's wife that she's in the charity business is in the models and talent business? She's the associate director at Advantage Models and Talent, if LinkedIn can be believed. Well, now I got to start asking questions. What the hell's going on here? Why is everyone around these people in the models and talent business? If you watch Candace tonight, she had a great question about that as well. If not, watch it later. It was a great episode. Why is she an associate director at Advantage Models and Talent, Philippa Booyens? So that's one LinkedIn page. She also has another LinkedIn page where she doesn't mention the models and talent, but she does mention being in the movie business. She is the creative director at Eden Pictures. It says so right here. Philippa Booyens, creative director at After Eden Pictures. Who does this remind you of? In the modeling business, creative director, casting director, whatever. Starts to look like a lot of the women hanging around this crew have a similar profile. You could close your eyes and look at their past, and Erika Kirk and Philippa Booyens kind of have a similar background going on. What is After Eden Pictures? Let's go into that because this is obviously showing up. So what is After Eden Pictures? After Eden Pictures is a film and television company. Jaco Booyens here is the president and CEO, Philippa Booyens here is the writer and creative director. There are a few other people I've never heard of here. Dan Funk, Katie Walker, Crystal Funk. I'm assuming Dan and Crystal might know each other. But this is this film and television. You start thinking, okay, models, film and television. What is it? Again, it's starting to sound like Erika Frantzve. She tells everyone she's a what'd she say? Agency represented model, an actress, a casting director, even though there's really no evidence she was any of those things. And then I found this really weird clip. I got to play this clip. I found this really, really weird clip of Jaco Booyens talking about a film he was recording. Now, keep in mind, I'll give you the background on the film before I play the clip. The background on the film is that he was filming a film about girls who get transported for illegal activity. Can you guys following me there? I don't want to use any of the giant buzzwords if I don't have to, or not many of them. This is a film about young girls, underage girls, who get moved around. They get on the highway and go and do traffic, and then they get used for illegal activities. And so he's writing a film about this. It's a little interesting. But he's going to tell this clip here. He's on Steve Harvey's show. He's going to tell a clip here about being on set and having a conversation with Homeland Security about a disruption and how it was solved. And then a little story about something that happened afterwards. Very interesting story.
Jaco, I understand some things got really, really real on the set one day. What happened?
Yeah, you've done your research. This is real. Film is a funny thing. You have locations, and one night at 7 p.m., our location calls and cancels. So we call Homeland Security and said, do you know of a motel that's shady enough that might let us film the scene there? And they said, sure.
They were on location getting ready to film at a hotel. The hotel says, no, we don't want you filming. A, that's weird. I'm assuming you're paying the hotel for the rights to film there. It's probably pre-done in advance. Usually there's contracts. Usually there's disclaimers. Usually there's NDAs. Usually there's money changing hands. You don't just show up to the Holiday Inn and be like, hey, can I film a movie here this afternoon? No. This is planned weeks, months in advance. So it threw up a giant red flag to me that the hotel was like, you're out, get out of here. Because in my mind, when I hear that, I think, did the hotel think they were doing something illegal? Like, did the hotel assume that there was something going on that they weren't told about? And then so I get this red flag that goes up. And I'm thinking, gosh, that's weird. Why would a hotel, after you've planned all of it out, you've got all your cameras, you got your sound guy, you've got your actors and actresses, you've got everything set up. You probably have a lunch and dinner station. I mean, these shootings take a while. You've got food catered in. You've got costumes. I mean, it's a big deal, right? Filming a movie. This isn't just showing up with an iPhone. Why would the hotel pull their rights to do it? But I was willing to go with it until he said, so I contacted Homeland Security. What film director contacts Homeland Security for advice on what shady hotels are around where they could film a scene? That's strange to me. That's really strange to me. That's really out of left field to me. And I start thinking maybe my initial suspicions are right. Maybe there was something weird going on. But I'll let him continue because it gets even weirder, believe it or not.
We do. We're busy shooting this scene. Nicole was inside the motel room, and that's a picture of it, yeah. And Homeland Security gave us 7 operatives.
Homeland Security gave them people to act in their movie. Homeland Security, he calls Homeland Security about this movie he's shooting where one hotel apparently got so spooked they were like, nope, we're done. Nope, we're done. Get out, get off the property. You guys are out of here. So he picks up the phone and calls Homeland Security. Not only does Homeland Security say, yeah, there's another shady hotel down the street, and we'll send some officers to help. Guys, it gets worse, believe it or not.
Real Homeland Security operatives from Special Response Team. So they lined up on this door. They're going to bust this door open. I get a call from inside. Our camera operators say, listen, we got to make a change. Don't yell action yet. And these 7 operatives stepped back, huddled up, and walked away from the film set. And it was like slow motion. I'm watching, we're filming at room 117, and they go to room 113, and they line up. And I'm thinking, they're going to break the wrong door. I didn't pay for that door. I paid for this door.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't say a word because I'm confused with what's happening here. And they blow the door open. What happened was, as they were lining up on our door, about to film a rescue scene in the movie, they got a call from head office saying that a girl they've been looking for 16 months was at the Texan Inn at room 113. They need to act now.
Isn't that just peachy? Isn't that the strangest set of coincidence you've ever heard in your entire life? That's just the strangest set of events I've ever heard. I saw that clip and I thought, man, I can't believe he's telling this story. Unless, of course, he's trying to get out ahead of a story by telling the story. But this is the strangest set of circumstances I've ever heard. To recap, they're filming about underage children being moved around illegally for illegal purposes. They get kicked off of a hotel property that they've obviously paid to access. He just said we paid for the hotel door. So obviously it's all contracted, all prepaid. They get kicked off the property. Obviously something weird's going on, in my opinion. They pick up the phone and call Homeland Security, of all people. And not only does Homeland Security recommend a new site for them to shoot, they send 7 officers to act in the movie. Is this something Homeland Security does? Homeland Security is going around acting in movies now. Our taxpayers are going for the commercial enterprise of being paid actors or being free actors. It's a real thing. And then while they're there, they go, oh, wait a minute. There's a sex trafficked girl right there. She's right there, 4 doors down. Weird. This is really weird that you're filming here and it's also happening here. And they know about it. Yeah, and this was all done on short notice, by the way. They just happened to put it all together. I saw that, and I thought, all right, I got to tear this guy down to the studs. I got to pull the drywall off. I got to look for mold, mildew, termites. We're going all the way in on this guy. Something's wrong with this guy, and I want to know, A, who he is, and why Lori Abbas is using her maiden name to hook up with this guy, to form a charity with this guy, to serve as a director of a charity for this guy. She doesn't live anywhere near him. They have no connection that I can tell, other than they both seem to love to be around charities where these types of endeavors are being investigated or being helped or being assisted or being around. Remember the Jerry Sandusky charities, right? You got to start asking questions when people continually pop up in weird situations, particularly when weird things are happening around them while they're in those weird situations. So we dig deep. We dig deep. Don't ever get Daisy mad at you. She'll find everything about you. We dig deep. We get into his nonprofit, sharetogether.org. This is the name of the entity, sharetogether.org. Formed here, Brian Jenkins, Director Dan Funk, Director Jaco Booyens. And it gives a long list of things here. They're just normal stuff they're going to be doing here. And then Miranda Wiedemann is the organizer here, but this is just them opening this back in 2012. This was on September 24th of 2012. It's important, though, to know that he's using this organization and they're doing it as a cover. This sharetogether.org is a cover umbrella organization for the entity that he has been using, which is Jaco Booyens Ministries. Jaco Booyens Ministries. So this is JBM. This is Jaco Booyens Ministries. The legal name of the entity is sharetogether.org, but the assumed name, the DBA, he's doing business as Jaco Booyens Ministries. And that took place in 2019, about the time he starts taking off a little bit. I think I shared that with you. Did I share that with you? Yeah. All right. Here is the website. Now that you know these weird stories, now that you know the background, now that you know the people involved, let me show you the website. This is the Jaco Booyens Ministry website. That's what it's about. That's what they do. They launch in 2019 under Jaco Booyens Ministries with this website. And less than a year later, he and Lori Frantzve, going under her maiden name, Lori Abbas, are opening a charity together. It's just weird. It's just weird. Keep in mind, not only is he opening this thing, not only is this his chosen path to be around young, vulnerable children, but while he's around them, they tend to get arrested just 4 doors down, 3 doors down at the hotel. I want to show you real quickly the finances of this place. Because you remember when Erika Kirk got involved in TPUSA, they kind of took off on a hockey stick trajectory. We covered this not terribly long ago. They were just sort of piddling along in the under $10 million range. He meets Erika Kirk. They go from like 10 to 25 million. They get married, and now all of a sudden it's a $100 million operation. Hold, please. I want to show you something. This is the history of the 990s for this organization. 2014, just $250,000. 2015, just $161,000. It's actually going down. By 2016, they've gone down again. They're just $64,000 raised. That's it. 2017, they're down to $22,000 that they raised. They're 30 grand in debt. So in debt that by 2018 and 2019, they don't even file paperwork. But in 2020, he meets Lori Abbas. And his fortunes begin to change. Look, remember, they went from 250,000 to 161 to 64 to 22. He meets Lori Abbas, 302,000. 430,000. 1.1 million. 900,000. 1.3 million, and that's the most recent records we have. I'll tell you, those Frantzves are like magic. They show up and the money just rolls in. You got to be around kids getting transported around. Yeah, but we're helping them, right? We're just helping them. We're just helping them. They're obviously against it. I want to play a couple clips from Candace's show. I believe it was, or it was very recently. I think it was yesterday. I want to play a couple clips for you because she sets up what I think is a very damning part of this story. Believe it or not, this is just the basics. We've covered the basics. We're about to enter the realm of weird, creepy, and totally impossible, in my opinion, that these things would all be related. That's just totally impossible. But I want to show you about 32 seconds, 33 seconds of a clip here from her show. I think it was yesterday. Or recently. No, it wasn't yesterday. This was a week or two ago. She's talking about a lady who's the biggest donor in the history of TPUSA. I think she said she gave $10 million. And in that $10 million, or in addition to that $10 million, she also, same lady, decides she wants to open a 40-acre residential facility, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 52-week-a-year residential facility for marginal and at-risk children who are leaving the child transportation industry. Again, I think that's valuable work. Somebody should take care of these kids. But the people doing it should be really scrutinized because these are the most vulnerable human beings on the planet. Kids who have undergone this are the most vulnerable human beings on the planet. You take that away from a child at that young age, you can put anything you want into their brains. You can do anything you want to them. There's trust issues that are broken down. There's all kinds of problems. But I'll let Candace take it away here and talk about it.
It's interesting, and to bring you up to speed, that those donors, it was widely reported at the beginning of this year, so we're not really breaking any stories here, that the Turning Point headquarters, I believe the one in Florida, the Florida campus, was going to be renamed the Buckman campus because of the large donation from the couple, largest ever in Turning Point's history, which came from Carl and his wife, Nelda Buckman, okay? Daily Wire actually had the exclusive story on this, and that's interesting to me. The $10 million gift and renaming the headquarters. Now, Nelda.
That was interesting to me as well, but that's for a different reason. So let me go forward a few minutes in her. Oh, goose. I shut down the run here. All right, now open it back up. Let me go forward just a little bit more because what you're going to find next is, in addition to the $10 million that they gave Turning Point and in exchange for naming the building or the Florida campus after them, in addition to that, here's what else they were going to do with their charitable endeavors.
Again, that's just speculation, but what we can be certain of regarding Nelda Buckman is that she is an executive producer. She's also an artist. She's also a philanthropist. And like Erika, which is the compelling part here, she has done extensive work with foster children and in particular sex trafficking victims. Okay, Nelda works with National Angels. So it's like there's all of these different regions, Austin Angels, New Jersey Angels. She works with all of them to help foster children. Okay, I don't really have a gripe about that. I think I have shared, my mother spent time in a group home. There is a need. I am particularly open to the fact that there is a need and that the system is not great. But, and this part I would say, concerned about. It doesn't mean I'm concerned about Nelda, but this project in general existing gives me pause and gives me concern because Nelda is one of the largest donors. She might even be the largest donor to Courage House, Nevada. Okay. I don't like anything that happens in Nevada. Blackmail rings. There's a lot of stuff that happens. Las Vegas, obviously. And this nonprofit, which advertises itself as providing safe homes for child sex trafficking survivors, and per its website in April 2025, it purchased a 40-acre property in Washoe County, Nevada. Okay. It planned to house 6 resident children. That's a lot of space for 6 children. All of these children are female. And it should be noted that this is a psychiatric residential treatment facility. Different powers for the state if they say you're a nutcase. Okay. They can just do things and keep you. And that's immediately upon its opening that November. This is the goal, a 40-acre property, as you see. And we're going to house 6 girls. And it has a capacity for 18 as cottages are being built. That's their long-term goal, is to provide care to 12 more children, total capacity 18 across these 3 cottages. Again, 40 acres for 18 children feels like a lot.
All right. I think you get the idea of what they're talking about. So what they're trying to build, is a facility where you would take the most vulnerable people on the planet. Kids who have had their complete innocence stripped of them, stolen from them, who've been psychologically harmed beyond recognition, horrors unimaginable to average people. And they want to take them and they want to move them to a secluded place in rural America. And we want to house them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We want to separate them, remove them from society, and put them in a facility. Well, who else wanted to launch something like this? Who else wanted to launch something like this? Jaco Booyens. Rescue and Restoration, Hope in Action. He wanted to do the exact same thing. Hold on. Let me click a different one. They called theirs The Way Ranch. Here is The Way Ranch, Texas. This isn't in Nevada. This is in Texas. Faith, Stability, Restoration, a faith-based 24-hour residential care facility providing stability and restoration for children who've been abused and neglected, are at risk, or are survivors of human transportation. They bought 70 or 75 acres out here. These are some renderings of the buildings they're going to be building up here, the residential facility, a little recreational facility, the Grace House, the Blessing House, the Welcome Center, the Mighty Oak Center. This is what they're building. The Way Ranch, Texas. Seems an awful lot like the exact same thing Candace was talking about. No, notably, The Way Ranch, Texas is not a nonprofit. You would think it would be. Here are their filings. It is, in fact, an LLC, The Way Ranch LLC. This is their filing. It's part of sharetogether.org, DBA Jaco Booyens Ministry. I don't know why it would be an LLC and not a nonprofit. I guess as an LLC, you can make profit out. I don't know why he would do it that way. But this paperwork was filed in 2024. Now, you might think, well, that's just a coincidence. Perhaps they're just 2 random people out there trying to do the right thing. Now, don't get ahead of yourself. Because would it surprise you if the person Candace was talking about, Nelda Buckman, knew Jaco Booyens? In fact, this is Nelda's website, Nelda Studios. She had an episode with Jaco Booyens, Nelda Live. Jaco Booyens, a man on a mission to uplift lives and time-honored values and faith through multiple media platforms and organizations, author, public speaker, and filmmaker, influential new voice for responsibility, hard work, and God. It even has, you can click on it and you can watch some of the episode. It's an hour-long episode, and you can watch them interacting with each other. I had no idea what Nelda Buckman looked like, so I was happy to see that she also appeared on camera. But this is a really strange connection to me. Is Nelda Buckman also financing his venture? We don't know. I have no idea. No idea. So I want to pause right there because we're going to back up just a little bit on Jaco Booyens. We're going to look at what he's doing today because he has a new Christian spin on everything. And then we're going to draw a connection to the Einstein files. And would you believe there is a connection to the Einstein files in all of this? It's like playing 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but you can get there. So let's look real quickly. If we look through the filings in Texas, we find that Jaco Booyens is on another board of directors. It's not just the other ones. He's also on one called the Justice Reform. This is the Justice Reform right here. This is the domestic nonprofit corporation filed again in October of 2024. This is a month after the other one was filed. This is Heather Schott. We'll talk about who she is in just a second. Heather Schott, Vanessa Hector, Linda Seville, Steve Panate, Les Cody, and Jaco Booyens. And then you get the officers, Heather Schott and Vanessa Hector. So again, this is the domestic nonprofit corporation Justice Reform. Well, what is Justice Reform doing? Justice Reform is, anybody want to take a guess what they do? That's right, class. The exact same industry they all seem to be fascinated with. These are the justice residences. They're building the first long-term restoration home for up to 100 survivors of human transportation in the United States. Right there in Fort Worth, Texas. They seem to be fascinated with this. House up to 100 women at a time for a long-term care that is presence-driven and biblically based, 1 to 3 years, depending on their needs. Now, if you had 100 young women living here, you as a fellow resident might not recognize someone coming and going relatively quickly, might not recognize dozens of people coming and going relatively quickly. But it just seems like these people, and wait till you hear the connection in just a moment, but it seems like these people are fascinated with this industry. They just burn to be a part of it. They burn to be near these vulnerable members of society, the most vulnerable members of society. At the bottom of the website, I didn't show you this. At the bottom of the website, you find that Justice Reform is a housed visions down here on the lower left of Mercy Culture Church. Well, what is Mercy Culture Church? My goodness, is there even more weird connection here? Well, yeah, there is. Because here is Mercy Culture Church. Mercy Culture Church, they're in Fort Worth, Texas. Looks like a very large organization. They got a balcony. They've got some giant clock to let the band and the preacher know they've gone too long, as they all do. Remember I told you we'd come back to Heather Schott? That's because the pastors, the senior lead pastor is a guy named Landon Schott, and the senior pastor is his wife, Heather Schott. That's Heather Schott there. She is a wife, mother of 3, author, reformer, and prophetic voice. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot. I've written a lot of my own bios because everybody requires you to write your own bio when they do copy. I've never said I was a reformer or a prophetic voice. Oh, you guys don't see my screen, do you? Because it changed. Let me give you a view here of what I'm looking at. Here's your prophetic voice. Radically delivered from addiction at 17 years old, tells her powerful testimony in the book Unscarred, a ministry to the broken, bound, and ashamed. Look, I'm all for people getting deliverance and healing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it. I think people should put drugs behind them and move on and live a better life. So I'm not knocking that aspect of it. I'm just drawing connections as we move through this story. Landon, I'll show you Landon's bio. He actually is a politically connected pastor. This is Landon Schott. At least he preaches in a coat and tie. He leads a nationally influential ministry. He also serves on the spiritual advisory board for the National Faith Advisory Board in Washington, D.C. This is the president's spiritual guidance board. Famously, Paula White, I think is her name, is on that board. And she there's a lot of clips on social media going around with her right now, but I'm not going to play any of them because I don't want to make sport of her. But that's Landon Schott, politically connected guy. This is the church who runs this transportation saving organization for girls who've been transported at a residential facility. This is a different one, granted, than the other one that Jaco Booyens is involved in. He's involved in at least 2 that we know of. But then we noticed on his Instagram bio, he was has been named the pastor of Mercy Culture, Washington, D.C. So I guess he and his family will be moving from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C. because this church launches, this local parish, or I don't know what they call it, but the local entity of Mercy Culture will launch in Washington, D.C. on May 24th, 2026. And it's got the pastor's story here. And if you click on it, it's got a weird video.
And I heard God say,
the 2 of them
I've been waiting your whole life for me to give you.
I say it's relatively weird. I get feelings watching people. Like I'll watch somebody and I'll just get a feeling in my gut that I just don't trust somebody. I get that feeling with him. I don't know why. Maybe it's all the weird desire to be around all these vulnerable people. Maybe I'm too cynical for my own good. I don't know. All of that building up to this. If you look through the Einstein files, they've made a lot of news here lately. I think we can say Epstein now on YouTube without being blocked. There was a period of time where it was like questioned whether or not you could. But if you look through those files that the Justice Department released, you get on justice.gov/EP Stein, and you look it up, you get access to 3 million plus documents. Among those documents are emails. Some of them involve emails from him. Some of them involve emails from his employees. Sometimes it's just people talking about him that were collected up in the investigation. Well, in those emails, we are introduced to a young lady named Jenna. Here is Jenna. There's somebody here. We're not sure who this is because she's been protected, blacked out here. But in this email, I'll try to make it a little bigger for you. Someone writes Leslie Groff, and we'll talk about who that is in a second. That was J.E.'s right-hand woman. She is mentioned in the files over 150,000 times, I think. Like nobody was closer to him outside of Ghislaine Maxwell than this girl, Leslie Groff. She is basically an extension of Jeffrey. This person emails her, whoever this is, and says, could my best friend from Texas, Jenna, please stay in an apartment July 3rd through 6th? This is back in 2013. We have blank. When does blank leave? If there is one, of course, she can. This is Leslie Groff writing to, or Jeffrey writing to Leslie here. And then this is Leslie writing back to Jenna saying, rock on. Good thing I sent him a candle. So she's been accepted. This Jenna girl, we don't know who she is yet. We'll introduce you more to her in just a second. But for now, there's this Jenna girl. She's the best friend from Texas. So we go to the next email here and we find out, in fact, who Jenna is. This is critical to this whole story. So stay with me here. We find out that Leslie Groff writes, thank you again for the best birthday ever. Jenna and I had a fantastic time. I'm sorry. Leslie Groff is the best friend of Jenna. Leslie and Jenna are best friends. Leslie is J.E.'s right-hand woman. You don't get closer to J.E. than Leslie Groff, unless you're married to him. You just don't get closer than Leslie Groff. She worked for him for decades, over 100,000 mentions in the files. She's talking about her best friend, Jenna. We'll figure out who she is in just a second. Thank you again for the best birthday ever. Jenna and I had a fantastic time. Relax, enjoyed the spa, great dinners, really fun and so generous, kind of you to pay for it all. So J.E. paid for the whole trip. I love my Ralph Lauren sweater too. You simply are the best boss. XO Leslie. And he wrote back, you deserve it. And now we find out who the Jenna is because Leslie writes to Jenna. I sent this to JE with a black and white photo of us from Sunday night. So nice. Yes, he also bought me a cashmere Ralph Lauren sweater for my birthday. Crazy. So Leslie Groff, JE's right-hand woman, writes to this Jenna girl, Jenna Masquelier. I'm going to call her Masquelier because I don't know how to pronounce it. It sounds French. But this Jenna girl is the best friend of the closest employee Jeff Einstein has ever had. What does this have to do with any of these people in this story? Well, I'll show you. I'll show you. Because when you go to that Jenna Masquelier's LinkedIn page, lest you thought for half a second that all of this was innocent, lest you thought that all of this was, well, Baron, you're drawing conclusions. You don't really know what you're talking about. There are good people in this industry. Granted. But are these people good people? Because look where Jenna works. Jenna, who is the best friend of JE's very closest employee, who is loyal to him to the end, she works at Jaco Booyens Ministry. That's where she works. She works in the project volunteer office. She coordinates travel, events, public speaking engagements, supports high visibility advocacy initiatives. And then strangely, the weirdest bullet point of the whole night, she assists in overseeing Texas border projects, including accommodations, logistics, and volunteer scheduling. What are they doing at the Texas border? That sounds transportation-y to me. Cultivated experience in event planning, cross-functional coordination, relationship management. So it's just weird to me that after Einstein goes down in 2019, does his whole operation collapse? He can't operate the Zorro Ranch anymore. He can't operate his empire on the Little St. James Island. He can't operate his empire in New York. Does the whole operation collapse or does it continue? And if it continues, who does it continue through? Well, you would need places to house these women. You would need places to house these women because they formerly had places to house these women. Looks like JE may have been taking care of a lot of that. But now you need new people. You need a ranch in Texas. You need a ranch in Nevada. And you need connected people working there who understand the game. What's going on? But are you saying Jenna is innately involved, intricately involved in illegal activity? No. I'm not saying that at all. That would be an opinion. I'm not drawing an opinion. But my opinion I am drawing is it's awfully weird. It's an awfully weird connection. It's an awfully weird connection. That she is now working for the guy who's running around setting up all these human transportation charities where they will be gathering the most vulnerable people in the world, young girls who have been through the worst imaginable trauma and moving them into rural locations where they don't have access to anyone else, where if you scream for help, nobody hears you. That's what's weird to me. That's what's weird to me. It makes sense to me that if you wanted to get involved in this organization, you now need to fly under the radar. Look, for example, what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. Look what happened to him. He never ran it as a charity helping underprivileged people. Had he done so, when the authorities show up and said, what are all these vulnerable young girls doing around? He said, oh, I'm running a charity. He never did that. He ran it as a capitalist enterprise. And so I think people have learned from his mistakes. And so we end up with this series of connections here. We start with our friend Erika Kirk, formerly Erika Frantzve. We go up the tree to her mom, Lori Frantzve, who for some reason, unknown to us, when she got involved in this charity with this weird connected people, she chose to use her last name so that if you just searched her name in Texas records, you wouldn't find her. She chose to use her maiden name. And for a long time, it evaded notice because of that. It worked. Erika Kirk to Laura Frantzve to Jaco Booyens via the charity that they founded together. From Jaco Booyens to Jenna Masquelier, because she now works for him. And from Jenna Masquelier to Epstein by way of her best friend, Leslie Gross or Frost or whatever her name was. That's a connection I'm not willing to overlook. That's a connection I'm not willing to overlook. I don't think it's as complex as you think. So let's circle back to the founding of that initial charity. With all we now know, let's circle back to the initial founding of this charity. I want to bring this back up here. The American Center for Freedom. Let's go back to this here. If you go back to this initial filing, Jaco Booyens, and you got Lori Abbas on here, not using her real name, not using her legal name, not using her married name, not using her professional name, but using a name that at this point in time she had not used in 31 years. Since she was 19 years old, was the last time she used Lori Abbas. And look at all the other people involved. It's not Jaco's people that are involved. It's not his wife on the paperwork with him. It's not the people at his church on the paperwork with him. It's not the people at his other charity on the paperwork with him. No, it's John Duplay, who works with Lori Frantzve, and it's Donald Hoffman, who works with Lori Frantzve. Who's more in control of this organization? Now, you might be tempted to say, well, Jaco Booyens, he's the name, he's the registered agent. No. That's not how charities are run. Charities are run on a majority vote by the board of directors. The board of directors runs the charity. It's important people lose sight of this because with TPUSA, they were like, well, that was Charlie's business. No, it wasn't. It was the board of directors' business. Charlie was an employee of that board of directors. That's all he was. So when he passed away, it's not like anyone inherited it. That's the nature of a nonprofit. Nobody owns it. There are no shares. It's not a private corporation. It's not like you go open Charlie's Widgets and you make widgets, you manufacture widgets. And when you pass away, your wife inherits the widget business and she can either step in and run the widget business because she's the full shareholder at that point. She can either run the widget business, she can sell the widget business, she can hire somebody to run the widget business. I used to work at a company like this. The founder founded the company in the late 1970s, and he died. His wife had never worked at the company. His wife knew nothing about what they did. It was an IT company. His wife knew nothing about what they did. But when he died, guess who the new CEO was? It was the wife. Well, you couldn't argue with her. She owed 100% of the shares. She inherited them from her husband when he died. So you couldn't say anything. She was the sole shareholder of the company. She became the head of the company. That's not the way a nonprofit works. So this nonprofit is run by these three directors: Jaco Booyens, Jean Duplay, and Lori Abbas. Jaco Booyens only had 1/3 of the votes. The other 2/3 were Lori and Lori's employee, Jean Duplay. Those were the two people running the company. They were trading, I think, on this guy's name, Jaco Booyens, because he's a big-time Christian. He's kind of on the rise. He's got a podcast. He's got a video service. He's got a movie company. But he's been in this business all along. This is what he does. He is known as the trafficking guy. Not that he's doing that, not that he's committing the illegal activity, but he's in and around that all the time. That's what he does. So I raised the question. What the hell does Lori Frantzve really do for a living? What does she really do for a living? And by extension, what does TPUSA really do for a living? They go through a lot of money. They raise a lot of money. What do they really do for a living? What did Erika Frantzve really do for a living before she showed up in Charlie's life? I think these questions are all on the table. I think situations like this raise the issue and need to be fully examined. They'll probably never be explained, but they should be. They should be. I can't say much because I got married as a young man, but I think his wife was like 20 when Jaco married her, and he was older than that. I think he was like 27 or something. I have their wedding photo, and she looks very young in the photo. But that's neither here nor there. I guess that doesn't really mean much. I guess that doesn't mean too much. But it's just, this one was just too much for me to ignore. I'm being told the Candace clips were 2 months old. That's how time flies when you're having fun. I thought they were like last week. Whatever. I don't know, guys. I think anyone who's interested in this industry, their life should be absolutely torn apart and examined. You should have no privacy if this is your chosen field. Especially when, as a 17-year-old, you found a charity to go to Constanta, Romania, to hand out Christmas gifts. I mean, she was living in Phoenix. There's poor people in Phoenix. You can hand out Christmas gifts to orphans in Phoenix. My gym, every Christmas, we partner with Toys for Tots, and everybody brings in a toy, and we'll raise 75, 100, 150 toys, and we'll take them to the Marines, and the Marines pass them out to underprivileged children. It's a great charity. You don't have to fly to Constanta, Romania. That just happens to be one of the child trafficking centers of the universe. I'm also weirded out that they opened a charity in Jaco, Costa Rica, and then closed it and don't talk about it. They never mention it. She'll talk about China. She'll talk about Puerto Rico. She'll talk about Romania. They never mention Costa Rica. Well, when we examined that last week, we learned that Jaco, Costa Rica was like a trafficking paradise. Why do they keep popping up in these locations? Why is this what they do? Why is it that every time you peel back one layer, that's what you find? They're neck deep in a location known for trafficking. Why? And why seek this guy out and form a charity with him? If that's what he does, if that's the only thing he really focuses on in his ministry, that's what he does. It's diabolical to me. It's diabolical to me. Anyone who would take advantage of a young child is diabolical. There's no other way around it. It's demonic. It's absolutely 100% demonic. And I hope people look into this. I was not aware of any of this before we started looking into it. It's at a certain point. So I was always raised this way. If something happens one time, random occurrence, right? Anybody can be in the wrong place at the right time. That's just a random occurrence. If it happens twice, that's a coincidence. You start looking and saying, it happened twice. That's a little bit of a coincidence, but maybe. The third time you have a pattern. Random occurrence, coincidence, pattern. The fourth time, pattern. The fifth time, pattern. We've got a pattern. We have a pattern with this young lady. Erika, with her mom, Lori. We have a pattern on our hands. This is what they do. This is the type of industry they get involved with everywhere they go. But hey, she's sitting on the Air Force Board of Visitors, even though it looks like, in my opinion, fraudulently inflated her academic credentials for a decade and a half. But hey, who's counting? Who's counting? What's a few GPA points among friends? What's a major that wasn't offered? In spirit, she wanted it, right? Like a participation trophy. All right, let's get through some of your questions here. The part that drives the critics crazy. Baron, today I sent you an email about someone warning of false flags. Perhaps you could advise Candace as well. I don't think Candace needs to be advised about that. I think that's just common sense. But thank you. But Baron, the jury awaits your call to order. Order! Order! We'll begin. Sorry, I should have done that to begin with. Won't happen again. Won't happen again. My husband and I look forward to watching your show together. We love your insights, faith, and high IQ. Well, thank you. Your husband sounds brilliant. So do you. So do you. Can we rule out Adam Bartholomew as a potential patsy with the info we have? Yeah, I don't think you could pin a shooting on him. He had a camera in his hand. I don't. If that's what you're asking, I think safely. Weeks ago, you and viewers prayed for my military son. Yesterday, we received news that due to health issue, he is now non-deployable. God truly does answer prayers. Thank you all. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. It's a weird way to have your prayer answered. I don't want your young man to suffer from health issues, but I'm thankful he looks to be safe, and I hope he's dealing with whatever's going on. We prayed as a group tonight, 243 of us. How powerful. Thank you, Baron, for bringing us together. It was incredible. On this channel you did? That is powerful. I'm telling you, we got the greatest community. The people who knock the community, shame on them. But we have a great community. We celebrate victories. We pray for each other. We encourage each other to live healthy, happy lives. And what more do you want? The buff, the amazing Baron. Yes, very buff, if Ad Fleet is to be believed. Do my shoulders look as good as they did in that video? I did 10 wall walks yesterday in a workout, so maybe. Maybe. Love you are starting from the beginning. Also love how good you and Daisy are at finding people's digital history. Guys, Daisy did yeoman's work on that program today. We just did. As did the young person. I can't remember who it was. I said it at the beginning of the show. I gave credit to that person who tipped us off to the existence of this, the filing. But once Daisy has the filing, she's like a dog on a bone. She's like a Rottweiler on a shank bone. You cannot get her off of it. You cannot get her moved away from it at all. She was still throwing stuff on the outline like 10 minutes before we went live. I was like, stop. I already know what's on there. I can't have new stuff. She's great. Also, oh yeah, you got that one. Have you and Daisy looked into the digital history of Tyler Robinson and Lance? I think you meant Twigs. Must be something besides fake Discord chats. The whole world has looked into those. There's not a whole lot there. Want to glorify God. Thank you for that generosity. But yeah, I just don't think there's a ton there that we're going to find. It's unfortunate, but you know, maybe there's something out there lurking under some name no one's ever looked at, but I don't know how to find it. Adfleet's reenactment video was hilarious from today. She's so talented. Go Baron, go Max Baron. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, I don't want to play the whole video because I want you to go over to her channel and watch it. I want you to watch the whole thing here. I want you to go watch it over there. Thanks for all you do, Baron. Dee Dee Got a Podcast was denied entry to hear EK speak today. I guess you'll never see her either. How will she ever be president if they're that protective? LOL. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. I don't have any interest in going to see her. I do think she's going to be in Nashville here before long. That's interesting. Dee Dee got denied entry, though. I mean, What's he going to do? He's a pro. He's not going to stand up and make a scene. You're mad he's sitting there? Come on. Baron, did you see that Nick Sandman was at Trump's speech today? I did not. What an interesting tie. I hadn't heard that name in a long time until I did my open last week. I'm going to be a first-time dad, Baron. I know I mentioned it all Sunday already, but I'm freaking out over here, man. This can't be normal, or is it? Give me all the advice and cheat codes. I already did. Just follow your gut. Follow your gut. Don't let anyone tell you what you're doing is wrong or right or anything like that. For example, every time we had a kid, we'd leave the hospital. Don't let the baby sleep on his belly. Got to sleep on their back. Let me let you in on something. Babies don't sleep on their back very well, but they sleep on their bellies like champs. They sleep on their bellies like absolute champions. We're 8 for 8 on that one. 8 for 8 on that one. All rise, hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. The Supreme Court of Barron is now in session. That's right. That's right. You may be seated. While YouTube actually alerted me this time. You're like, well, good for them. Good for them. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Thank you. Baron, can you please tell me what you think is on the roof to Charlie's right? It's visible from the start of the video until shot rings out. Life is driving vid. I know what you're talking about. I don't know. I know there was no contact or penetration from that side. So I don't know. I don't know if it's somebody watching something, somebody doing a lookout or something. I don't know. I've seen the video you have. I'm glad you got your wish to have muscles. Fleet. Yeah, Fleet did me right there. No doubt about it. Even took a lot of the gray out of the beard. I mean, I was looking like 27. Peak athletic performance there. Pam says hi. Hey, Pam. She's handling her contact dermatitis and doing her schoolwork. Tilly's very cute. Thank you, sir. Does Pam want you telling us about her contact dermatitis? And does it take, or an hour and 29 minutes in, does it take that long to handle? A little steroid cream and she should be back in action. Flipping that remote, hitting the like button like everyone else should be doing. There's no reason at all. Pam is that out of commission over contact dermatitis. The likes are pathetic. You guys, we only have a third of the people watching have liked the video. Click, click. It's easy. Cost you nothing. Does so much for the show to help push it out. So much for the show. YouTube thinks you guys like it when you like it. I want to thank you, Baron. You were part of the reason I decided to join OCIA this fall. I hope it goes well. I've been a part of a lot of different OCIA programs over the years. And the people, at least that I've been at 3 or 4 different parishes OCIA programs. And the programs I've always been a part of, the people the preparers, the presenters take it very seriously. So I hope you're having a good one. Harvey. You stand a better chance running with scissors. You'll have to do better than that to get back in my good girl graces. Nice try, though. Oh, man. Calling him out by name. Wow. Poor Harvey. Harvey's now paid $15 to get in front of this girl. She pays $10 to smack him down. I don't know what's going on between you two, but I'm happy to let it play out here. Keep us posted when things change or don't change. I'm hooked. This is like my daytime soap opera. This is my dynasty. This is my Falcon Crest. This is my 90210. I got some shout out. Melrose. This is my Melrose for the younger folks. I don't even Grey's Anatomy. The end of Ad Fleet video is the best. Yeah, that's right. So she made me look young and muscular, but the very end, she put me in a walker and made me old. That's all right. You look buff until the end with the walker. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. 21 days clean. God bless everyone. Congratulations, Maiden. God bless everyone. Baron, do you think it's realistic they unalived CK because he realized DK is in the files as well as got Candace Owens off of Jean Mish? Excuse me, Brigitte. 2 birds, 1 stone type thing. That's interesting. Jean-Michel. That's interesting. She did kind of pivot off of that when the Charlie thing happened. And she was making some headway too. I mean, some real headway on that. I don't know anyone who's watched that series who thinks that's a woman. It might, I've never seen her in the buff, so I can't comment. But I know what I saw on her show. Pretty damning. If you had access to any pieces of evidence from 9/8/10, what are a few things you'd like to know for fact that are true, false to help solve this. I'd like to know precisely where Tyler Robinson was and who was on the roof. I don't think it was him. I'd like to see the Rode microphone that was under his shirt and the necklace in the condition they were in immediately afterwards. I'd like to know. I'd like to know when Andrew flew in. I've gotten some new information on that, by the way. And I don't know how to present it. But I'm now more convinced than I was that Andrew was not on that Santa Barbara to Provo flight that landed at 4:25 or 4:32 or 4:36 Provo time. I'm very convinced he was not on that flight now. I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong. I'm always willing to change my mind with the presentation of new evidence if I came across something that told me that. But here's the thing. If Andrew was on an earlier flight, there was a plan. That's the way I look at it. If he was on an earlier flight, there was a plan. And I have reason to believe now he was on an earlier flight. I didn't before. I mean, it was just speculation before, but now I've gotten some confirmation from some TPUSA employees that they believe he was on an earlier flight. They keep firing people, but they're not getting our contacts in there. They're not getting our contacts in there. Well, I'm going to circle back to that. I got to figure out how to do that show. I'm not sure how to do it yet. Thank you, Heather. Hello to Baron and my fellow critical thinkers in this high IQ outfit. Because we're here, we know we have been blessed with the gift of discernment. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Go Max. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing our best here. Thank you. Oh, did I hit that twice? Sorry. El Rushbow for top center placing. An inspiration, a legend, fitting for him to share your broadcasting space. All right. I am not going to replace this anytime soon. I appreciate all the suggestions, but that's going to stay blank for a while. Wow, dropping 10 membos. I'll do a member show Friday afternoon, probably early. So if you're a member now or you're getting one of these gifted memberships, and those are random, nobody can pick who those go to. But my next member show will be Friday. We'll have a good time. Sent you an email about Costco hoodies months ago. I promise it was before I realized you were likely being bombarded with more important information. No, the thing is, I don't know which email was you because apparently when Adidas hoodies go on sale, I am the only person who needs to know about it. I got a lot of contact about those. So thank you, all of you, because it did work. My son and I went up there. I bought him one. I bought a couple. Hey, Tennessee native here. I grew up in Watertown, Tennessee. If you haven't been, you should take one of the trains from Nashville to there. Christ is King. Thank you. Christ is King indeed. Let me look here where Watertown, Tennessee is. I'm not sure I've heard of that. Oh, it's in Wilson County. I know where that is. Oh, you're not far. I didn't know there was a train that went over there. Duly noted. Duly noted. You're kind of between what, Mount Juliet and Alexandria? Yeah. I mean, I know the areas around you. I never heard of Watertown before. Duly noted. Thank you. Where's 840 end? I could get off on 840 at 231 and head over there. Always looking for neat ideas. So thank you. Did you see the videos of EK in Arkansas today with Huckabee? Yes, I did. She was like this. Looked like a wounded dog. New look of shy, sad, and all shucks face. Exactly. That's what I mean. She's really trying to change her persona now. Too late. Yeah, it's one of two things. Either now she's acting again, but in a different way to try to win people's sympathy and act like a wounded animal. That's option A. Option B, she's embarrassed by everything that's taken place that we've all figured out, and she just wants to crawl in a hole. I honestly hope it's the latter. A duck's quack doesn't echo, but not today, darkness. You better come get your funky birds. Do ducks' quacks not echo? Is it because they aren't loud enough to echo, or are they just like on a... Is that true? Duck quack doesn't echo. Oh, it's false. Nice try. You almost got that one past me. I was going to repeat that as fact to everyone I knew tomorrow. You know, ducks, when they quack, it doesn't echo. High IQ outfit. Candace used my tip yesterday on her show about CK watching the Bears game. That was a good tip. It was the most seen moment I've had. I'm so thankful you and CO are fighting for truth. Christ is king. Well, get fit with Caitlin. I can assure you that was fascinating. It was compelling viewing. So thank you for putting that together and sending it in. Bearing those muscles. Look out, Coach. Adfleet, you are so talented. Yeah. Now, what she needs to do is have Coach and me arm wrestle each other in our buff posture. And we'll have to call it a draw. I'm getting in there, you know, like really going after him. And then he gets the better of me for a second. I get the better of him for a second. And then we call it a draw. We're like, all right, that's it. That's it. Both completely wiped, you know, sweat just pouring down. It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. AK texted CO evening of 9/9. Charlie Kirk said they're going to red rum me tomorrow. Did she call him back? CK or anyone else? Wondering if you ever asked. Christ is king. So I don't know that I'm following what you're saying. Andrew texted Candace the night before the Utah Valley University event where Charlie passed. And then you said Charlie said that. I don't know that I saw where he said they're going to take him out tomorrow. I think I've only seen where he said they're going to take him out. So you're bringing up new facts to me. I've not asked her about it because I'm not familiar with all those facts. But Baron's my first super chat, trying to catch up on old videos and watch your live, so I could missed where you addressed this. You caught what looked like a shot through the trees in the Life is Driving video. Is this theory out? No, it's not. I don't know what that was. I know a lot of people have had trouble seeing it, but I don't know if it was. So one of my theories is, and I have a lot of them because I don't know. One of my theories is there was some kind of noise-making device, and that might have been the flash, the noise-making device. So I doubt you would see, and it looked like it moved. So I just don't know. I don't know. No, it's not out. I just don't know what to make of it. Thank you for the generosity there, and thanks for joining the super chat, fam. Congratulations on the soon-to-be merch drop. Can't wait to get a Hope Please mug. It's an honor to be a member of this high IQ family. Thank you. Yeah, I think Friday we're going to go ahead and put the fun. I just don't have time today or tomorrow because putting shows together all day. But I think we're going to put the finishing touches on moving the merch store over to the website and then having it available there. So stand by. We're getting there. We're working on it. We're working on it. Working on it. The mug is amazing. What do you think about sin and trauma opening the door for demonic and disease and destructive patterns? Yeah, I'm right there with you. I know you're healthy, but any chance that constant dry cough is from lisinopril? No, I've answered this 100 times, and I'm not getting on to you for asking, but it's not lisinopril. I have flawless blood pressure, usually like 110/65 or something. I have very good blood pressure. The cough is from a lifetime of asthma. 46 years of asthma. I've got just lung damage. I can't help it. Not on BP meds. If I don't work out for a while, the cough tends to go away. But I worked out 3 of the last 4 days. Today was hard. Yesterday was gross. Yesterday was a lot of running, and today was a lot of squatting. And so heart rate just gets really high, and that aggravates the asthma a little bit. But it's just the way it is. Just living my life. If you lived with me, you'd understand I sound that way all day long. Worse in the evenings. What do I think of the Alexander brothers? Interesting story about the Alexander brothers. I'm pretty sure, if I have the story right, one, was it Trump's son-in-law, Kushner? Is he the one that invited one or both of them to some White House event or something? And then they get arrested for being bad dudes. Yeah, it's an interesting story. I wiped my account of witchcraft. Thanks, boss. Much love. Thanks to you and Candace teaching me that nothing to mess with. Wow, don't mess with anything like that. Don't mess with the dark arts. Stay away from those people. Do not go. My advice, y'all do what you want to do. I can't tell you how to live your life, but my advice would be never go into one of those places where they can tell your future or talk to dead people. Stay out of those places. Those places are crawling with the demonic. Don't mess with Ouija boards. This stuff's nothing to play with, guys. Nothing to play with. Is this invest going anywhere? No one is going to jail except for Patsy. Charlie Kirk's death is providing a good living for a lot of YouTubers, so that's good for them. But what about justice for? Well, I mean, that's nonsense. YouTubers be making money anyway. But what's happening is I don't think anyone intended anyone to question the Charlie Kirk incident beyond a day or two. As soon as they got Tyler Robinson, as soon as they found the 30-06, they expect everybody to go, oh, and move on with life. Just like they did with Butler, just like they did with Oklahoma City, just like they did with Waco, just like they did with Littleton, Colorado, just like they did with Aurora, Colorado, just like they did with the Dallas, Texas downtown shooting where they got that guy with a robot. Time and time again, we get these weird incidents, and then they just march out there with their authoritative, just like they did with Las Vegas, frankly, which is the wildest story in American history, in my opinion. Far wilder, frankly, than Charlie Kirk. But they march out there with their badges and their green or white or blue shirts, and they got their guns on the hip, and they just, we got it under control. Here's what happened. And everyone goes, oh, okay. Not this time. Not this time. Not this time. And so by running it down, hopefully we're saving lives. Hopefully they realize they can't do this again. We're not going to tolerate this in the future. Like, we're done with this. If you guys pull something, we're going to investigate it until we figure out what happened. Second thing is, we found out a lot. Did you know any of this about TPUSA and the things they were involved in? Did you know any of this about Erika Kirk? Did you know any of this about Lori Frantzve? No, you didn't. You didn't. But if you think Candace is making more money now than she was, you're out of your mind. She's had millions of views forever. I mean, for better or worse, people watch podcasts. If not, you're going to watch ESPN or you're going to watch Fox News, and they make money. I mean, it's the nature of it. You watch something that has advertising, and people are going to make a couple of pennies off of it. Eric, involved in the Epstein debacle, appears, per her usual lying, she could have assisted with the models per Candace today, according to some of the girls. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting tip. I'd like to see if more comes out of that. Sandusky's home bordered an elementary school. Of course it did. Of course it did. I didn't know that, but of course it did. Sandusky is innocent, and it's the saddest thing. 40 hours of the benefit of hindsight, and I feel like an expert. Huh? I don't think he's innocent. Now, I've not seen any evidence of that. If you see an organization with freedom in it, you can rest assured someone or someone is getting F-worded. Yeah, probably, unfortunately. Interesting that Charlie died wearing that word, right? I coined a phrase shortly after the Sandusky story broke. I called it the Sandusky effect, when something is too shocking and horrible to believe, so it gets ignored. There was a lot of that with Jerry Sandusky, but I will say this. If you say his name, people know who it is, and he does not get a good response. He does not get a good response. And he was known in the college football world, but he was not known by, like, my mom wouldn't have known who he was. But after all that happened, people know the name and they know the allegations and they're disgusted by it. Holy mackerel, Langhorne. Thank you. Thank you. If not a trip to Israel, what is Buff Barron's dating advice for someone who is, say, 49, male, 6 foot, beard, never married, no kids, self-employed business owner living in the St. Louis area, looking for the type of gal who watches RBP? Rough out here if you don't find someone before 30. Is on all the dating apps except Farmers Only and JDate. I didn't know there was such a thing. I don't know, man. I got married at 21 years old, and so I dodged a lot of that. And so that whole, when I got married, I think I had an email. No, I didn't. I don't think I had an email address when I got married. Maybe I did. Certainly didn't have a cell phone and all that business. So, I mean, it's the internet has grown up in my 25 years of marriage. It'll be 25 this year, yeah, in June. And so I'm not a lot of help in that. I don't know if, like, for example, you're in a church, they have a singles group. Do they have like a women's group where the men's group gets with the women's group and invites them to a, grill out or whatever? I don't know how that works. I know you're not alone. I mean, there's a lot of it out there. There are a lot of people that are in your boat. So I wish I had better advice. But I can thank you. That was a very generous contribution. But if I would, again, I don't know if you're a religious man, but I mean, I would want somebody that's faith compatible with me and political compatible with me. So I might hang out at those type of events, make myself known. Gyms themselves, like a commercial gym, is not usually a great place to meet people, but group fitness classes like CrossFit or Burn Boot Camp or stuff like that, a lot of times you'll see matches made in those types of places because you spend a lot of time around each other. You see each other every day for an hour. And then maybe you get up at 5 a.m. and go, and then you look and you say, well, there's no one here in the 5 a.m. class. Well, maybe you go at 6 p.m. when you get off work, and see who's in the 6 p.m. class. I don't know. I know our gym has had quite a few pairings up over the years. So I wish you luck. I do wish you luck. And thank you for your unbelievable generosity. Thank you. Humbling. BWT, Baron, brilliant opening statement. What does BWT mean? BWT. I don't know what that means. I can think of a couple things I could say it means, but it might offend some people in the audience. Lori Abbas, babe. Thanks. I'll see my way out. I don't know what that means. I wish I did. Sounds funny. Where's this investigation lead? Oh, we've already talked about this one. Yeah, we've already talked about that one. I don't know that no real justice will happen. I don't know that that's true. Sandusky was impotent and could not physically do what he was accused of. It was people selling their souls for money and jumping on the train to railroad a poor man. Do better research. I'm just going with, I don't know that I said he was guilty necessarily, but I mean, he was found guilty in a court of law on 48 of the 50 counts. So from that perspective, at least 12 people who saw way more evidence than you or I did believed it. And there was a investigation that found a lot of things. So I don't know about that. Hey, Baron, do you know anything further about Erika's relationship with Jillian Falcon? Want to make sure that doesn't get buried if there's more to be revealed there. I know people who have talked to her. Unfortunately, I think other people have talked to her as well, and she's clammed up a little. Interesting about the embassy art students were one of our biggest spy rings here, spying for our greatest ally. They were selling art to spy. Oh, were you talking about the ones at the mall? Yeah, she's not selling art at the mall. She's like curating art to put in embassies, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know that was a job. I'd like to know where these young people are getting all this money to open these charities and holding these appointments with zero credentials. It's insane to me. Yeah, me too. Me too. Please don't show my Grumbler super chat when you read it. My name's on there, and it's for my children's sake. Let me see if I can find it. How will I know it's you? The Grumblers. I got to unpin that real quick so I can see the rest of it. Oh, I'm unable to unpin it. I own the channel. I can't unpin it. So much for owning the Rumble channel. Apparently, I don't get those privileges. Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, no, that's not you. I'll try to remember that when I get there. I apologize if I don't. But I mean, everybody on Grumble can see it. Didi got a podcast. Covered Erika with Governor Huckabee getting TPUSA in all high schools today. Video online of Erika talking to kids. She was billed as the most influential woman in politics by Didi's friend at the State House. Did she write that herself? Your chat's the best ever. The mods. Yes. The best. No doubt about it. Baron, try organic Malayan tea for that cough. I use Star West brand. Love watching the show. I have Malayan. It makes me tired. I don't know why you guys get so weirded out about the cough. I've had it. If you guys have been around for the last 6 months or so, you've heard a lot of it. I mean, it's annoying, sure, but I get more annoying than that. Just if you don't believe me, ask my critics on Twitter. Why must Christian leaders prostrate themselves? Stick with his new and eternal covenant, my friends. Stick with the new and eternal covenant. Yeah. There's a whole rabbit hole you could go down there as to why they do it. But theologically, yes, you're correct. One of three. I've been listening since the Google Files, never commented on any YouTube video or even paid to comment. I'm going to have to do multiple shout outs to cover it all. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Thank you for that. Yeah, I was talking to a guy last night at church. I went to because I had the night off here. I went to a youth group event with my one of my boys. Actually, two of my boys were there. And I was talking to one of the dads who asked me, you know, how things going and this and that. He said, "What are you doing these days?" And I told him, he's like, "Yeah, I heard you were doing a show." And we started talking about the Google Trends. And I was like, "Yeah, but then they broke the tool, so it'll never be worth it again." I guess it's unusable now. Gosh, met September 2018, only 7 years, start to finish. Almost to the day. You know what that sounds like? 7 years, start to finish? And that sound a little revelation-y to you? Aaron Elmore is an ex-Apprentice Show contestant. That's not a coincidence. Good catch. Good catch. I forgot about that. Good catch. Candace mentioned the significance of the number 33 in the Freemason Bible. Amethyst flag had 33 stars in the American flag. Yeah, I put that on Twitter when I spotted that. I made this comment before and starting to wonder if EK is related to Trump. Makes you wonder. What would the relation be? I don't know what the relation would be. I don't see it, but I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't see it. Similar BG equals yacht girls with Maxwell, calling it now. I don't know what BG means. Guys, assume I know nothing when you comment. Give me a little context or a little only use really acceptable abbreviation. This really is one big club and we ain't in it. Thank God though. Yeah. Be glad you're not in it because you know what the cost of getting in is? Your soul. That's the cost to get in their club. It's your soul. You don't want in the club. Their club is on the temporal realm. It's here on earth. Our club is eternal. Our club is in the eternal realm. And we can fight them. We can try to do well here, but in the end, our guy wins. You're wearing a hat due to a bad haircut. I'm Alex from Gypsy Barber and Shave. I'd be happy to come and give you a complimentary haircut. Are you near me, Gypsy Barber and Shave? You're not far. I could come up there one day. I might come up there one day, Alex. I don't know. My barber might get mad. So I was my own barber when I had the bad haircut. Then I had to wear a hat for 10 shows. I just balded myself. I got tired of it. So then I started going to see a professional. Got here late tonight. Shame on you, but we'll allow it. Reach out to you or Adfleet for your workout supplement regimen. Also awesome opening statement tonight, Christ is King. Yeah, Christ is King indeed. Yeah, you got to reach out to Adfleet because she's the one that makes me look like that. I promise you, if I take my shirt off, I don't look like that. 2 of 3 Jonathan Cahn's videos about Candace. I'm so disappointed in him. I'm disappointed in him. Some of the things he talked, how bad she is, everything that he does, the money she makes, likes and follows books. And what? He's mad at her for being successful. Are you serious? I love these capitalists that get all mad. You know, they're making money. Like, you know how much effort it takes Candace to put a show on? I'm not talking about me. I know how much effort it takes here. I've been to her show. There are multiple full-time employees standing in the room. The equipment alone, guys, you have no idea. It's a professional operation. Even my little show, the carrying cost of Daisy and my sister and all the equipment and then, you know, YouTube's got to get their hands in, Grumble's got to get their hands in, Spotify's got to get their hands in. And so, I mean, even if you looked at Candace's top line figure, you got to subtract a lot out of that before she ever sees it. Not to mention Uncle Sam gets his hands in. The fact that they would be mad about that when she was doing that anyway, stop it. Stop it. That's just a cheap shot. Jaco is pronounced Jaco. I'm from Costa Rica. The area is known for being decrepit. Jaco. I believe you. I'm going to call it Jaco, though, because I'm from Middle Tennessee. 3 of 3 is the best one yet. When I watch you and Coach C, I try to pick which rant Adfleet is going to make a video on. I love it when I'm right. Thank you for all you do and for us. For all you do for us. Yeah, thank you, Cubs. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't even think about it when I'm doing the show, but then when I see him, I'm like, yeah, she got me on that one. That was a good one. Gifted 10 memberships. Look at you guys. You guys are in for a treat Friday. We're going to have some fun. How have I gone 46 years and not opened one nonprofit or 501c3? Has my entire life been wasted? Look, I said that same thing to my wife today, Mrs. Coleman. I said, Mrs. Coleman, why haven't we opened a 501c3? Apparently, that's how you get rich in this country. Here I am working 75 hours a week, banging my head against the wall, trying to put out 12 hours of videos every week, plus a member show for 3 or 4 hours. All I have to do is open a 501c3, and apparently you become a multimillionaire and live in $1 million mansions all over the country. And fly around in a Gulfstream 5. I had no idea. Baron, DOS art. How Hillary Rodham transported art? Oh, Department of State. I don't know anything about how she transported art. Put an image of Sitting Bull on your wall. So I went through a phase. It's interesting you mentioned that because someone else mentioned Red Cloud. I went through a phase where I read a bunch of books about the Southwest Indians in particular, but some of the Upper West Indians as well. I read a biography on Red Bull. I read one on, it's called Empire of the Rising Sun, I think is what it was called, on Quanah Parker. I read one on the Navajo. It was an excellent book called Blood and Thunder. It was really about Kit Carson, but most of it was about the Navajo. The real Kit Carson, not the dime store novel, Kit Carson. I read Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. I read a bunch of them. Like I went through a period where that's what I read was books about Indians. And what a fascinating and frankly tragic reading. But yeah, thank you. Thank you. Art in Embassies is a child trafficking ring set up to ship containers around the world without going through customs. Look up the documentary. Horrific. Oh, really? Well, that would be an interesting tie compared to consider where she used to work. Baron, first off, you're the man. Hey. Second, Jaco, see what I did there? I digest what you guys say, is very connected to Glenn Beck and his network. Glenn seems super sketch to me now. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. I had no idea Glenn Beck had such a connection to Jaco. I have to look into that. Let me look this up, actually. Glenn Beck. Oh, I spelled it with an H. Jaco, Costa Rica. No direct connection to recent news. Oh, interesting. Philip Booyens. Oh, Jaco Booyens. Talks about it. Oh, I'll have to look into that. I just don't trust these people, guys. I just don't. I might be wrong about it, but I don't trust them. Daisy, I'd pay to learn research message from you. You have to be born or develop an insanely curious and persistent mindset. And you have to be willing to be wrong and just dig and dig and dig and sometimes go, yeah, there's nothing there. Like we have that conversation a lot where we'll both just go all in on something and we'll look and say, ah, not anything there. We're looking at the wrong person or they're not actually related or they didn't do what we thought. It happens. It happens. And you can't let it discourage you. Shout out to the mods. Look at Roll That Beautiful Bean footage getting on their good side. You know, he used to tussle with them. Non-profit is a complete oxymoron word construct, just like jumbo shrimp. Ref the it's a big club and you're not in it guy. Just check out the YUSA. Worked with the Y C-Suite in Detroit. Just awarded Susan Collins an inaugural Impact Award. NP's Most Fake. First, Annie, thank you. Very incredibly generous contribution. I agree with you that there is a tremendous amount of abuse in the nonprofit world. A tremendous amount of abuse in the nonprofit world. And if you wanted to go into laundering or illegal transportation of people, guns, drugs, nonprofit world would be great because all you have to do is report the money coming in and the money going out. You don't have to say where it went and how you got it. It's like this. Want to sell organs? Start an organ donation company and do both. Traffic humans by pretending to protect them. Like Candace says, they're not smarter. They're just sick. Stay safe. I'm doing my best to stay safe. Monsters. No wonder zero shame for donations after CK. Yeah, the shameless requests of donations is a little much. Jaco's Timu Sound of Freedom movie. Didn't that guy get caught up in it too? The guy from Sound of Freedom? I don't know if there's anything to that or not. I'm not calling him guilty. I don't know enough about it, but I thought he got caught up in that kind of stuff or got caught up in the allegations that maybe he was in on it. Jaco Booyens' sister was transported. He and his brother rescued her. He's done a lot of work to bring awareness to human transportation in the U.S. I'm familiar with the story. I watched an interview of the two of them talking about it. I'm familiar with the story, but that doesn't mean that he's beyond researching. You get exhausted by the weight of this evil, praying, Jesus, please come tomorrow morning. It's already finished. Jesus is king. I do. I mean, it's weighty. A lot of the stuff we cover is pretty weighty. Andrew Bustamante, former CIA, stated that being able to start businesses and change identities is classic spyware behavior, spycraft behavior. After all the obfuscation, you and Candace podcasters are waking us. Go Max. Yeah, again, that's part of the goal here is to teach you to put the glasses on, not necessarily solve every single thing that you look at, but to be aware enough to say, oh, you can't get away with that. Can't get away with that. 40 acres sounds like hunting prop. CYM files. Oh, sounds like hunting property. Ooh, interesting. Baron, thanks for your hard work. Just wondering if you've seen the parallax view. I think you would really like it. I've not. The only thing I know about parallax is in racing. The thing in the middle, they say and I have a racing simulator and you can put it in parallax mode where the thing kind of disappears a little bit because it, like you put your finger in front of your eye, but you can still see what's going on because one eye sees this way and one eye sees this way. Parallax view. Jaco is really fighting human transportation. He could have been surrounded by wolves, but he is the real deal. His sister was rescued from it. Watch his documentary, Fighting to Save Children. I mean, look, I'm not saying he's not. What I'm saying is I'm very weirded out by a lot of the connections that we drew tonight. Very weirded out. And I think they deserve investigation. The conclusion at the end may be the guy's clean as a whistle. But we don't take people at their word anymore. Not around this issue. Not around this issue. Not when, frankly, Lori Frantzve is involved at all at any level. And not when she's using her maiden name in what appears to be an attempt to avoid detection. So to me, the burden of proof is on the people involved in it because it's just too, the stakes are too high. Mercy Culture Church breaks ground on shelter for HT. I don't know what HT means. Oh. Human transportation. Am I getting this right? Lori is possibly funneling money from abusive kids through a church. I don't want to draw that conclusion either. What you're getting right is she seemed to have gotten through the Romanian Angels charity, through Everyday Heroes Like Us, work in Jaco, through the American Center for Freedom. She seems to be positioning herself around this industry a lot. And 2 of those 3 efforts were hidden, were not publicized or not talked about. And that bothers me. That bothers me. They love to brag on themselves. You would think if they'd done good work, you wouldn't be able to turn around without finding out they'd done it. Philippa Booyens is a well-known screenwriter of Lord of the Rings. What you may not know is she wrote, produced the hyper-feminist War of Rohirrim dumpster fire and is writing, producing The Hunt for Gollum. Sad day. I did not know that. Please do a deep dive into Glenn Beck and The Blaze. Jaco is on with Sarah Gonzalez of The Blaze. Beck always supports the Beepster and our greatest ally. Very sus. I remember Glenn Beck. I lived in Pennsylvania when Glenn Beck was like a local guy. And he had a great radio show. I listened to it every day. I love talk radio, always have. And I listened to it a lot. And he was funny, and he had some crazy bits, and he was not all super political. It was mostly like just good, good talk radio with a little political angle to it. But it was just great. It was just great. I missed that Glenn Beck. He was fantastic. 40 acres equals hunting property. Isn't it conspiracy? CYM file. I don't know what CYM files. And search EP files for Deer Island, one of hundreds of hunting properties in the U.S. Nightmare gets worse. Oh, you're saying hunting people? Is that the allegation? Do you think the protesters above Charlie with the flags and such were placed there by the FBI or CIA just to make it look like the narrative is just too perfect? Thank you. I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that at all. That was where they were told to congregate, though. I am in a city on Share Together paperwork, have mutual Facebook friends with him. I'm freaking out. I am in a city on Share Together paperwork, have mutual Facebook friends with him. I'm freaking out. I mean, do some research, look in, see. Again, the burden of proof is on people in this industry to prove that they're all on the up and up. But again, you get Lori Abbas, Frantzve involved, and I'm weirded out. I don't trust that woman. A for-profit or private treatment facility is a company that can make major bank. With high-risk children, there's a potential for longer stay. As they age out, they can transition them to adult LLCs. Yet another Zorro Ranch. That's my fear. That's my fear. That's why I think it needs to be closely examined. I wonder what happened to the family SEP kids under DJT1. I don't know what that means. Victoria's Secret Angels, the most famous of all the angels. Seems like angels is a euphemism for transported. Keep your foot on their neck. Yeah. That's sad that you would pervert a creature of God that way. So is this a takeaway? If you want to become rich, start a nonprofit or a church. How old does the draft go up to? I have a 25-year-old son and don't support the war. Love your hoodie, Baron. You are eligible for the draft till you're 35. But I imagine they would start at the 18, 19-year-olds and start dragging them in. I doubt they'd get to the 25-year-olds anytime soon. But, man, the prospect of a draft just terrifies me. That's one thing if you're like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to go into a career military service. I mean, God love you. Like we need military people. I wish they were more focused on the defense of America than being on the offense in Middle Eastern countries. But we need a military. We can't really function as a first world country with no military. So we need people to sign up and do it. But I'm terrified by just grabbing people off the street and forcing them into service. That bothers me. Was that EK praising like a poser on the Justice Reform website earlier? I don't know. Aaron Elmore employee, eForce employee. Same Aaron Elmore married to Dan Scavino. Yes. Also the director of art and embassies at the U.S. Department of State. Yes. Yes. The same. Actually, I don't know that Aaron Elmore was an eForce employee. She was an employee of the American Center for Freedom. And as far as the Jaco connection, why is he hiring somebody, if he's so great, why is he hiring somebody who was so close to the Einstein saga? I'm weirded out by that too. Sorry, I am. Again, burden's on you guys. If your best friend is J.E.'s right-hand person, then I don't know that I want you working for me. I mean, she didn't know what her best friend did for a living. She didn't know who she worked for. She was with him. He bought their dinner. He bought him a sweater. He bought, hosted them at his apartment. She was well aware of who she was there on behalf of. I think it's pretty clear in the emails. And I mean, a quick Google search would tell you the man was a convicted felon for pretty disgusting crimes. Baron, love your podcast. My eyes have been opened of how evil our country has been. We must trust in Jesus. Remember, Jesus loves you. He does. He does. Isaac Cappy mentioned many Einstein connections by name in case Daisy wanted to pull that thread. Thank you for doing what you do. Yeah. Cappy was, his death is very suspicious, in my opinion. When I found out Dan Scavino was engaged to Aaron Elmore, I immediately thought, honeypot. Why are so many powerful, average-looking men dating and or married to beautiful, younger Jewish or Christian Zionist women? I don't know her politics or her religion, frankly. But that's not unusual that a young, attractive woman would be attracted to somebody that close to real power. And the president's real power. B, it's also sick. Why does it seem there's so many child transportation support organizations or homes in Texas? Deep dives into each state needed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they should be so heavily scrutinized and overseen. Did you notice your walker after credits in one of Adfleet's last two masterpieces? I did. It was hilarious. Admittedly. The more I learn, the more thankful my faith is not based on a church. Religion has been hijacked for the pervs. Well, that's one way to look at it. But I wouldn't say my religion is based. My faith is based on a church. I would say the church, in my opinion, that we go to is the best expression of the faith, and it's founded by him. So you know, that's where I would draw that distinction. But I'm not telling you what to do. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, and they're building this justice apartment in a very bad part of town. There's a lot of traffic lights there as well as party supplies there. Oh, I was not aware. Did I watch Alex Jones on Jimmy Dore? Weird. I didn't catch that. I will, though. That sounds like an interesting interview. This Jaco org cannot be found on Nonprofit Explorer. One must search under Share Together org. Yeah. Funny that. Baron gets me every time. I was touched by my Bible teacher. His attempted cover at the trial that his sister was touched, so why would he ever do that? Wake up, people. I'm sorry you went through that, by the way. I'm sorry that was his excuse. Jaco Booyens' sister, Alonka Deaton, was involved in sexual slavery for many years, beginning at the age of 12. How coincident. I'm not suggesting he had anything to do with that. And I've seen an interview of her talking about it. I don't think he had anything to do with that, but I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not 100% convinced he has anything to do with it today, but one wonders. The hire of the Jenna girl was just too much for me. That was like, okay. Like I had all these suspicions, and we came across that. I was like, really? What? Huh? How? Jaco Booyens Ministries showing up on 166 entries for other MPs and foundations that gave money to JBM. Corrupt. Interesting. That's something worth running down. Thank you. Jaco's the real deal, but what's alarming about this is that if you're fighting for, is that a cross? Be mindful that you could be surrounded by false followers. We must be on guard by fruit, not words. He may be the real deal. Like I said, he deserves to be scrutinized. There's a lot of weird stuff there that needs to be looked at. I support your decision to redact DJT. I did more than redact him. He's not just turned around. He's not in there. He's not anywhere. Hoffman, like Jake Hoffman, Senator? I don't think so. We tried to look at that connection, and I don't think it exists, but maybe a cousin or an uncle or something. I don't know. Jaco creep vibes just knocked me out. No IQ was lost. Yeah, he gives me that vibe too. Boyan's been around a long time. He was on Blaze a lot. Glenn Beck is a sister who was transported. He's from South Africa. Crisis King indeed. Yeah, he is. He also played in the Canadian Football League and I think in the NFL for a little while as a kicker. It no longer can be considered a coincidence once you are tied to 3 or more people or places involving transportation. I kind of agree. The Buckmans live here in New Braunfels. This is what I tried to send your attention to, but I got spooked. They live in my town, New Braunfels link. There's a couple of New Braunfels links to TPUSA, believe it or not. Kids in CPS custody are first dollar to Adrin facility. Survivors dollar to hunt prop for hunt in seg unaccounted for kids. Money Leslie needs disbarred, not real attorney anyhow. Shopping logistics for it. Episode 4 transactionals. That's a lot of abbreviations there. I think I kind of understand what you're saying. This hunting property you guys talked about is weirding me out. Is that a thing? Is that what they were trying to tell us? Is that the predictive programming or the confession in what's the movie where the kids get hunted by bows and arrows? What's that movie? Hunger Games? Is that what they were trying to tell us? That it's real? This is why they won't release all the files. It could bring down so much of this country. As a 68-year-old man, I'm sick to my stomach so much I feel like it's time to head to the hills, go off grid, and follow my faith. I've had that thought. I've had that thought of just unplugging, throwing up a little solar water heater and living by a creek with some good filtration and growing your own food and hunting your own meat. But, I mean, it's a different life. It's a different life than being able to go to Publix and pick up canned chili. Plenty of children in our U.S. need charity, especially at Christmas. Why is overseas so important? Weird Toys for Tots rocks. That's my question. That's my question. I don't understand why you would need to go overseas just to hand out Christmas presents. A lot of people, a lot of kids here with empty bellies and no Christmas to open. EK getting seat on board, smells of her being groomed for POTUS position. We're awake, but hordes are still being manipulated. Scary times ahead, praying for you. I don't know anybody. Let me say this about that. I don't know anybody who's ever voted for president and gone, well, wait a minute. Did they ever serve on the board of visitors of a military academy? I don't know. So I don't know that that's a direct connection to being groomed for higher office. But what I think it does is it gives her a day of good press when she needs it, desperately needs it. And it puts a seal of approval on her, which she desperately needs. I'm a former member of Mercy Culture, left in 2022. What seemed like a humble church changed drastically. They're similar to Bethel Church that's here in Texas and Redding, California. Lots of corruption. I was unaware. I haven't done a deep dive into Mercy Church other than their transporting orgs. Leslie Groff, being best friends with Jenna employee Jaco is a huge deal. I've been deep in the emails looking for these types of connections, and you went max on this one. Bravo, Baron. P.S. Those JE apartment booking emails are a gold mine. Yeah, I've started looking at those as well. I agree it's a huge deal. I do think it's a huge deal. And I think to me, it elevates the Jaco discussion from, boy, that's interesting, there could be something there, to holy cow. There's no way he didn't like that's a problem. That's a real problem. You're bringing in somebody who's intimately connected to that world. You can't tell me Charlie was oblivious to all this nonsense with these shady, tiny people. I wonder how much he looked past. Keep in mind, it was a pretty humble organization, and he lived a pretty humble existence up until he met Erika. Like, he didn't take a lot of money out. He had a very low salary. I think he lived with his parents up until they started dating, or he met her, or they moved the org to Arizona. I mean, he lived with his mom and dad. And so I think at that point, it would have been easy for him to say, well, I'm just in the trenches doing the work. That's when the money started flowing in, is when Erika showed up. I don't think that's coincidental. Feeling low IQ, how come we don't hear a ton of parents searching for their missing children? They could be orphans. They could be foreign children being brought in. They could be told their kids are dead. Maybe they are searching and they just don't get a lot of news. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons. Look at you pulling up the docs, Big Bang Boom. You've mastered it. It's truly a delight to watch and learn. My kind of entertainment. Thank you. High praise there. 3 Jacos, including Costa Rica and counting. Yeah. I think he's Jaco. Costa Rica's Jaco. I'm not sure if there's a distinction there. Love your show, Baron. Why appoint Erika if she's so unpopular? Intentional dissent? I think I hinted at that. She just needed a win. There was a win available for her. Another angle to consider: trauma victims, i.e. transportation victims, compartmentalize their emotions, making them ideal Manchurian candidates. Chase Hughes did an amazing doc on Sirhan. There's also some really good podcasts out there about how these transportation victims are ripe for programs like Mortal Kombat Ultra and other mind programming type organizations. A lot of information about that. When can we expect some Baron Adidas merch? Not soon. That's a little more complex. I would love to team up with them. If they knew how much money I'd spent on Adidas in the last 20 years of my life, they would be all over it. I'm brand loyal. The Indiana Hoosiers wear Adidas. I wear Adidas. They have since I was a kid. Raised being told birds of a feather flock together. Trafficking or young activity is a hard no, or you are involved. Yeah, the thing is, though, I do think that is an industry where you do need good people to step in and try to save some children's lives. The problem is there's so little oversight that anyone who wants access to those same kids would just say, well, I'm just trying to save their lives. That's why I'm going to move 100 of them out into the rural Texas. Christ is King. Love your channel. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. Trump knows and somehow has to appoint EK. Now she has power somewhere. What does her power come from? This makes me sick. Why isn't I don't know what that is. Is that a globe? Why isn't the globe on fire? Oh, the earth. Why isn't the earth on fire? I don't know. Because we go to volleyball games. You got to coach your kids Little League. You got Dancing with the Stars is on. Thank you, James. Thanks for your courage in the name of truth. My brothers wrote a fake will of our dad and took everything, including from our 8-year-old brother. Many parallels to CK. Court system is broken. Exposed them on Instagram last year. God bless. Thank you. I appreciate that, James. I'm sorry that happened to you, by the way. Christian Bale is building Together California, a $22 million 12-home foster care village in Palmdale, California. Includes a 7,000 square foot community. Again, maybe it's the greatest thing ever. I just hope it has appropriate oversight so that no one's doing things without legitimate inquiry and inspection. I just think they need to be so wide open with these. And there needs to be no connections to the Einstein files. Like, no one needs to work for you who's in there, whose best friends are in there 130,000 times. Saw in Jaco's bio, his sister was transported by the record industry. Interesting. Also, who's yours? Indeed. Basketball season didn't go as planned, but it's always football. I just saw your first episode yesterday where you were doing the election coverage. Yes, all 6.5 hours. Great stuff, by the way. You know, I've had to trim that a few times just practicing when I didn't know how to edit and stuff. So I'd always go back to that video and trim a little. So if you notice that there's weird jumps in there, that's what's happening. But yeah, that was a fun night. We had a good time that night. I had a lot of people on that. I mean, a lot for the time. A lot of people on that coverage. Merch ideas on anything. Don't be like Joe. Be like Baron. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. What are you thinking? What were you thinking? It's just weird. Sincerely, curiosity. Or the jury. Well, thank you for those ideas. Love your show. Also, thank you, Daisy. Yeah, Daisy's goat. EK was in Little Rock today, disappointed by Huckabee's daughter, obviously helping dad, who ambassador to BFF country, didn't go because I can't hold back. Yeah, if you can't hold back and be professional, don't show up at things like that. You made the right call. Good call. It's a mature answer. The behavioral panel just said they believe Erika. I don't know who that is. And it sounds like I'm right not paying attention to them. What would you say how this Baron, today's Baron, is different from that Baron in as much as what you've learned now of how the world seems to really run and those influencing it? How has it changed you, if any? I don't know what that Baron is. You mean a year ago, 5 years ago, 25 years ago? I used to, I'll go back to early Baron, like early married Baron. Like I used to go to CPAC every year. Started early in college and went, I don't know, several years in a row. I saw the Beepster speak one year. I believed in all those people. I read a book by David Horowitz and believed it. I believed what was in it. I walked away. I was like, man, this guy's brilliant. He really understands what the world, how the world works. I think up until 2015, I saw everything as right versus left. The Republicans were the good guys. The Democrats were the bad guys. It wasn't until Trump ran when I started looking at people on the right thinking, wait a minute, this guy is saying everything you've wanted. Why are you so against him? And then after he became president, or he started wrapping up nomination, and they weren't coalescing behind him because that was always the deal. We'll run all these Republicans, and you guys nominate Mitt Romney, and all right, we'll all go vote for Mitt Romney. You nominate John McCain, we'll all go vote for John McCain. You nominate Bob Dole, we'll all go vote for Bob Dole. That was always the deal. And then Trump wraps it up, and all of a sudden they go back on the deal. They're like, no, well, that's good for you, but not good for us. And so I started looking at it that it's not right versus left. There is a uniparty, and then there are people who love America. The uniparty loves power and globalism, and the people who love America love the guy that lives next door to me. Doesn't matter if he votes Republican or Democrat, they just love him because he's American, he's one of us. It's like your family. Like, I can argue with my sister. You can't argue with my sister. Like, you're wrong. And that's how it should be. Like, we'll handle our differences internally, but externally we'll put on a good face, and we're not gonna have it. And that's when I changed. That's when I really started changing, was about 2015 or 16. Ben Shapiro had a lot to do with that change. I used to call him Bad Benji because he was always like considered a bastion of conservative virtue and value. And then he basically said, I'll vote for the Democrats over Trump. And I thought, who is this guy? Those are supposed to be the bad guys. And that's when I realized it's not Republican, Democrat. It's people who love America and people who don't. People who love America and people who love themselves, and they love power, and they love the trappings, and they love the globalism, and they love the military industrial complex, and they love the deep state, and they love the intel community. There are those people. And then there are people who are like, yeah, but Sue down the road lives 3 doors down. She can't afford her health insurance. What are you guys doing? Sir Barron, I watched a live last night research that never broke 800, watching live 4 minutes after it posted. It had 4,400 views. How does he do it? I don't know. I mean, so the number of people watching live and the number of people total views are two different metrics. So if you hop into a show and you watch 30 minutes of it, and then you hop out and someone else hops in and they watch 30 minutes, that live number is only going to be 1. But your views when it posts is going to be 2 because you had 2 different people watching, even though there's never more than 1 person watching at a time. And so that's how. It just means he didn't have a lot of people watching for a long period of time. He had people hopping in and out. Lord, I plead the blood over Barron, his family, homes, vehicle, and pets. Tilly, you hear that? You're in. Provide a hedge of protection around all of them. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'll even forgive you for putting 2 R's in there. I was skeptical when you first mentioned Jaco, but you've reminded me that politics is a big old club of perverts. Jaco is a part owner of Parler. Who uses Parler anymore? Is he really a part owner of Parler? Really? I had no idea. I love Adfleet's videos, but I do like the real unjacked Baron. Just my humble opinion. Christ is king. Well, who? Unjacked? I'm going to take that as a compliment. Even though it doesn't read like one on the screen. Council, I would like an explanation of the Air Force Board of Visitors, including its purpose, impact, and potential implications. Christ is king. It's an overseer board. They provide advice on things like curriculum, admissions, purpose. It's like any other board, but it's composed of, I don't know, like 15 or 20 people maybe. The president gets a few unrestricted appointments, the House minority leaders on it. Just different people on it. And I think there are like 4 or 5 legislative appointments. There's some military retired people on it. But it's just an advisory board like any other board. I have no idea what makes her qualified to be on it. No idea whatsoever. Hey, my wife and I are constant watchers and about to celebrate our first anniversary. We're working on having our first child, though hopefully not now. Like right this second? Get a room. And we greatly appreciate any prayers in that direction. Love the hoodie. I thought you were about to ask for advice. I was like, whoa, it's not that kind of a show. Prayers. Yeah, prayers. Prayers. Not during the show. Come on. If so, don't tell us about it. That's my advice. But prayers, certainly. Happy to do it. And congratulations, by the way. Chat, I appreciate the financial advice, and this isn't a brag, but I have plenty of money. Oh, people getting mad at you? Do you think Lance Twiggs lives in one of those now? No. I know where he lives. As Coleman world turns, scissors, harsh and sharp. Like Brigitte Macron's scissors? Or did you see Nissy's upload today? Found EK a new last name, Merrill, I think. Same name as owner of Who Replaced CK's crime scene. I did see that. I don't know what to make of it. A lot of these sites just kind of pull from available public records, and if there's an error in one of them, that error will then be transmitted down for whatever site's pulling off of it. I don't think she's been married before, if that's what you're asking. I know that was the conclusion a lot of people made, but I don't draw that. I know nothing about the paving of the crime scene relative to her last name. U.S. House passed a measure in the NDAA. Should we be worried? A measure of what? We might, but I can't, not on that. I don't know enough. I'm sure they passed a lot of measures. Was that border project started about the time they opened it wide open and let 300,000 unaccompanied minors in? Yeah. Yeah, right about the same time. Do I think Butler, PA could have been staged? I think someone died, was shot and killed, and I think several other people were wounded. So to that extent, no. For such men are false apostles, deceitful workmen, disguising themselves as apostles of Christ, and no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. Well, thank you for that somewhat depressing scripture. Gosh, this is also dark. Ephesians 5:8-14. Keep being the light, Baron and the jury. We'll do our best to be light. I don't know what Ephesians 5 says. Hey, Baron, do you think that EK could have been setting up that LF was sick? They could fake death and Lori could disappear. Wow, you guys are getting dark. I mean, maybe. Possibly, maybe, probably. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past that crew. And remember that Governor Huckabee Sanders' dad is the ambassador of our greatest ally. Yes, he is. He's been a bad actor for a long time. Did you see Blake and John Bray last night? A little bit of it. I watched all 3 hours, 45 minutes. Your thoughts if you saw. I think Bray is a genius. Love the blueberry blue hoodie. See all your shows since Google Trends. Crisis King indeed. I watched a little bit of it. I like John Bray a lot. I think he's an intellectual guy. Here's the problem I have. I don't want to say a problem I have with John and Blake because I really don't have a problem with either one of them. Here's how my approach differs from theirs and so many others, including Jesse, by the way. I like Jesse. I'm starting to consider Jesse a friend. I do interact with him a little bit. I don't ever say, I know the answer. Here's what happened. You heard it here first. Count on it. Bank on it. Everybody else has got it wrong. That's not how I operate. I operate on, here are the views I favor. Here are the ones I'm pretty dismissive of. But even palm gun guy, like I am pretty much unwilling to consider it. But if you came out one day and were like, look, it was a palm gun, I wouldn't be like, no. I'd be like, I was wrong. I was wrong. I think that approach, in my opinion, lends a little bit of honesty and credibility as I struggle through this mass quantity of facts that sometimes, frankly, are a little difficult to put together. Like we're working on a show on Jeb Jacoby that'll come out. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or next week or when, or maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. But we're working on a show on Jeb Jacoby. There's a lot in there that I'm just not sure what to do with. Do I broadcast it? Do I hold it back? There's a lot of weird stuff in there, guys. A lot of weird stuff. Working on several shows that way. And I don't, I just think it would be wrong to say I'm married to this one theory and everyone else is wrong, because you can't possibly know that right now. For example, on John Bray, he's convinced right now, and I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying I don't know if he's right. He's convinced right now that isolated 4,240 hertz sound, whatever that the hertz value is, he's convinced that's the gas escaping from a ballistics gel. Well, a day or two before that, he was convinced that sound was the gas escaping from a battery. And he was just as adamant on each show, on each video. So which is it? Like, you're saying you're wrong. Are we going to get another one a week from now that you're convinced it's a different sound? Like, that's my problem. And I like John. I'm not knocking John by saying that. I'm just highlighting how I do things differently. I wouldn't say I'm convinced I'm right. I would say this looks really compelling to me. And I think it needs to be weighted and considered, and we need to run it out there so the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, however many people see this, they can weigh in on it. Because I'm not so vain to think that there aren't smarter people than me that will come across my information and correct me or corroborate me. And so that's just where we fundamentally differ. But I like Blake. I like John. I have no problem with either of them. Even if this lying liar who lies had nothing to do with the elimination of CK, she and all her people need to be investigated and brought to justice. Yes. And held accountable. What if EK married CK to funnel money into TPUSA and he wasn't doing the effort to see where the money was going, but to see where it was coming from? Well, that's interesting. That's a really interesting take. I will say, I don't think it's a coincidence that the money just started pouring in when she got involved. When she came around, the money just uncorked. But Baron, thank you for sharing your research. I enjoy your opening statements. We, the jury, find you very infotaining. If I can be informative and entertaining, then we'll all have a good time. Let's not lose track of testimonies that purport TPUSA party culture involving underage staff and new recruits not fitting Christian values. I don't have documented evidence of that. I've heard people say that, but I've not seen video of it. I've not seen documentation of it. So I can't really comment as if it's fact. I would say this. It wouldn't shock me. Knowing who all works there, it wouldn't shock me. I sent email, Mark, please read, please read. Every email gets read. Not that I don't appreciate your $2, but every email gets read. Every email gets opened. I mean, we get behind. Some days we're a couple of days behind. Some days we're caught up by the hour, but every email gets read. I promise you. Baron, I'm from an area that has local mercy culture chapter. They're currently in the process of building a victim shelter. I'm one of the contractors working on it. Some of it gave me chills early on. I'll email. Please do. Please do. That's telling you guys. Clemson, man. I'd be curious if any of our favorite tail numbers have frequented any private terminals nearby to said ranches. That's a great thing to look at. Keep in mind, a lot of these places are just getting built, but they're building a lot of them, as you just heard from our previous commenter. Even the witchy woo BS TV shows and movies? I don't know what that means. Do we need to research Erika Abbas as well? Probably wouldn't hurt, but I don't know that she's ever used the name Abbas. But I know as recently as 2024, she was using Frantzve in New York City. Now we know law enforcement can't or won't stop it. Cash paid in Wilkins, Bongino, I believe, is telling us we don't want to know. Now what? Truth seekers, God, please light our way. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. Now we know. Oh, we know law enforcement can't or won't stop it. Yeah. I use Malayan tea for cough, lungs. Look it up. I have some. I'm telling you, it makes me really tired and kind of hungover feeling the next day. Is it like a depressant or something? I've used it probably 25 times. I'm giving it to my kids. But man, it makes me tired. Like, I won't use it if I have anything to do the next morning, including get up and work on the show. Bridgie has French croissant. Mike Obama is a domino? Is that a domino? What is that? Maybe. Dan Scavino has been with Trump since he was his golf caddy. Probably DJT's most loyal friend. Always thought he's a good guy. Hope I'm right. He might be. I've never heard a negative word about him. I mean, I have, but I've never believed a negative word about him. For the record, I just know that girl worked part-time for that entity, and so I thought we'd run down and see what she's doing today. Hey, Baron, I've heard you mention your sobriety. I've been curious how and when you decided to quit. I quietly celebrated 3 years sober last month and appreciate you sharing your journey with us. Go Max. My last day drinking was December 28th of 2022. I went to a guys' night with some guys from our gym and drank entirely too much. But I had been drinking entirely too much for a long time. And I woke up the next day and I was extremely hungover. I went to the gym, felt terrible. Basically just went through the motions, didn't really work out hard. And then my wife and I that night were doing our New Year's resolutions. I was like, that's it. I'm doing sobriety. And I fully intended to do like I do with most every New Year's resolution, break it after a month or two. You know, use it for a month or two to clean out your body and then get back at it. And I just decided to stick with it. And once I got to about 6 months, I was like, well, I might as well go the whole year. But man, I would dream about Hendrick's gin with blue cheese stuffed olives. Like I would dream about it. I loved it. I would dream about Negronis. Woo. And, but then after about a year, I was like, I've already made it a year. Might as well keep going. My life had improved. I'd lost weight. I felt better. I thought clearer. I was clearer headed. I woke up feeling great every morning. My relationship with my wife improved, with my kids improved. I was calmer. I was not as, I don't think I was an angry person, but I had a very short fuse. And all that seemed to have improved. And so I thought, why would I go back? I guess what happened to me was somewhere in that year, I lost the romantic notion of drinking. There was a romanticism associated with alcohol. For a lot of people, there still is. You know, you go out and you drink an expensive glass of wine. You have you go out and you drink, you know, real martinis, not vodka martinis, but, you know, with gin. You drink a couple of 3 martinis and you feel sophisticated. And there's this romantic notion that I'm indulging in a cultural, a shared cultural experience across generations. You know, it's kicking back a few drinks at dinner. Then you go out to a business dinner and everybody's got a drink in their hand, or you go out to a business dinner and everybody's, you know, they order wine to the table and everybody, you know, there's 10 people at the table, they order 10 bottles of wine and everybody just kind of fills their glass over them. And it's just like, it just became, you know, and I worked in politics for that, where people drank all the time, like every night, everything had alcohol in it. And I went to law school where frankly, they teach you to be an alcoholic because every event is booze. And I just quit, you know, just quit. And when you realize how much your life improves when you're not drinking, you don't want to go back to it. So, and I've seen so many other good people around me quit drinking over the years that it's inspiring, you know. Seances, Ouija, and mediums are satanic. Agreed. Baron, when Jaco speaks, I detect an accent. I wouldn't be surprised if he's from the USA. I would be surprised. He's not from the USA. He's from South Africa, of Dutch descent, I believe. And yeah, so he's not from the USA. Baron, he's singing you as the dating app? That's what that means. Does Ranch offer detox programs? Visitors would qualify for government health care Gaming the system. If someone goes missing with a history, real or manufactured, of addiction, potentially less effort spent on finding them. Oh. That's an interesting take. To the 49-year-old gentleman raising my hand, Big B fan. I don't know if you're his type, but y'all make it work. You remember, I don't know if you guys were around then, but early on in the Baron podcast, we had a guy who was talking about how he just liked to cook steaks and go to work. He was a hardworking guy. He made decent money. He just couldn't find a woman. And all these women were like throwing themselves at him in the comments. I hope it happens for you, brother. Track this person down. Cool Kid VTO1. Track that person down. Make it work. Make a love connection. I'll be back in two. Some of you aren't old enough to know the Chuck Woolery joke there. Meet Bagel, Caterpillar Brows dating advice. Is Langhorn making a YouTube paid eHarmony ad for future girlfriend wife? Oh, I see. Yeah, I think so. And it might be working. We've got somebody picking up on it. Baron, my daughter-in-law walked in wearing a Make Heaven Crowded hat the other day. I thought I'd puke. Any advice on how to approach her about the shadiness of TPUSA? She wore that hat proud. Well, look. Your daughter-in-law wants people to find faith. And so there's a lot to be proud in that. Maybe turn her on to Candace or your humble host or coach or Trigger Smart or any number of other people that have covered this case. Using dang. I always misspell in here. Oh. What did I miss? My daughter made me get out after work. LOL. She was like, OMG, you're going to miss Baron. Yeah, well, you haven't missed much, Vicky. Go back to the beginning. It's preserved. It'll be up for eternity. Speaking of, where are our likes? Have we reached a sufficient quantity of likes yet? Close. We're close. Click the button. Has anyone ever talked to a survivor that spoken out about any of these people have actually helped them? I've not heard of a single person. That's a good point. I'd like to hear from those people. I'd like to hear from them. Great point. Lori, a boss babe. I'm just super chatting to explain super chats. Oh. Baron, check chat when pondering acronyms. I can't. I'm doing a show here. People. Let me pause these and go to our grumblers. EK and Sarah Huckabee Sanders spoke at my kids' school today. They had a free day at home. Everyone should go to Arkansas Christian Academy Facebook page and show your support on their post today. Is that where she was, at a Christian school? You figure the governor would take her to a public school, right? I see. One of these people told me not to read theirs out loud, and I don't. I don't know what to do here. Someone said the charity location in Arlington, Texas was a old lady in her 90s house. Had to become a grumbler because YouTube has been playing ads over you and Candace constantly. I had to rewind to catch something. It really only started happening more recently, but happening way too much now. Yeah, so YouTube runs ads on popular shows, and that's, they want people to see their ads. Is Erika Kirk Donald Trump's daughter? It's always who you know. She's got a Midas touch. Donald hanging out with beautiful pageant women. I don't think so. I've got more confidence in the Donald than Lori, frankly. He marries supermodels. And then there's Lori. Baron, you're acting like Jeffrey's no longer alive. He's alive and well and still in charge of it all. Mark my word. I'm not ruling that out. ShareTogether.org /JosephMonty.org. Wayback Machine confirms it. Why is trafficking org redirecting to a personal site of someone who is testing UAV and posting about LiDAR way back 2017? I don't know. It's news to me. Jaco's LinkedIn shows human trafficking endorsements from an FBI employee and real estate leader. Who vouches for someone like this, and why those people? Jenna Masquellier's LinkedIn account. Management endorsement comes from Mark Rothstein. That name attached to Stephen Deckoff, Jeffrey Island owner, through Gertrude, Job, Quirple, and EK. Really? Hold on. I'm taking a picture of that one, Dom. How do we know for a fact that the Marines aren't taking the Marines are taking those toys to Romania? I think she went there with them. Texas legislation named Tammy Brown Rodriguez child advocacy expert and JBM family, worked alongside Ken Paxton, Texas Attorney General, family policy, power, all in the same circle with EK, TPUSA, and Einstein. See, this is why we do these shows. You guys find things we didn't find. Thank you, Dom. You do give a Dom. You say you don't, but you do. Jaco Booyens' last post on TikTok, 9/15/2025, where was he 5 days before? Jaco Booyens Ministries works directly with CIA and lots of alphabet agencies, over 170 NGOs in 56 countries. Email me that link where you got that information, because that's interesting. Jaco Booyens listed as a prior TPUSA advisory board member on an open source. Interesting. Did a quick search, and Candace posted about this on Reddit 2 months ago. I think you're right. Good job. There's more info on there. Take a look, Baron. They've been researching Candace Owens' 2 handle. I don't know what Candace Owens' 2 handle means, but I hadn't seen that, but I'm glad to know she's aware of it at least. Maybe we sparked something in her tonight. When you click learn more about Jaco, it somehow gets worse. I don't know how active actor and more. Interesting. Let me show you this. This is interesting. So this is his TPUSA bio. Jaco serves After Eden Pictures as the founder and president of the company. To date, Jaco serves as the executive director at internationally recognized agency Advantage Models and Talent, which has worked with developed such acts as Miley Cyrus, Chris Young, and other actors and artists in major television and film productions. Jaco also serves as a national scout and couch. How do you serve as a couch for the 28-year-old talent incubator company called AMTC? He's managed athletes, artists, writers, and musicians. Also has an educational background in sports medicine and has been blessed with success as a professional athlete, rugby, and American football. Active actor, has appeared in several motion pictures. Passion for life, film, and entertainment flow into After Eden Pictures in his personal life. Interesting. Everyone should be vetted. Doesn't matter how much money they have to invest. EKLF, way too many coincidences. Jaco, Jenna, contact to EP, too close for comfort. Now we all know is close to EP, so why her? Yeah. It's there's a lot there. Didi says Catholics are not real Christians. That said, he's an excellent MLK expose video. God bless you, Baron. Why, Didi, why would you say that? Baron, a lot of podcasters are denied access political. Oh, I see what you're saying. Access to public events like that. Shots actively covered for huge charismatic pastor, Dr. Michael Brown. His own assault and covering up assault in overseas ministry orphanages. Parents spoke out. Oh, really? See, this is why we bring you guys these stories. You guys know things and you're able to comment on them and then illuminate us as we continue the search. Tag you on X, the real story about WAST podcasters. Don't tag me on X. Email me. If you tag me on X, I will never see it. I can assure you. I mean, I get it. It's like 100 notifications every couple minutes. I cannot possibly keep up with that. I've been to 3 events about trafficking with Jaco being the lead speaker. His sister had been transported, and he got involved in bringing awareness in honor of his sister and all she went through. Well, that's his story. That's what he tells people. There's no doubt about it. Melinda, thank you. From PA, went to Penn State and Drexel, named after, I believe, the family of St. Catherine Drexel. Sandusky, guilty of sin. I think the other person has a typo and meant by the way. Oh, love your show and have been watching since the Kirk assassination. I'm a nerd accountant. I appreciate the deep dives into the LLCs. Well, I'm a nerd. So welcome to the nerddom. Congrats to the beautiful Bean on being a dad. Yeah, beautiful Bean. Congrats. Whole thing gives me PTSD. Currently have a civil RICO and laundering case involving 5,000 shell LLCs. Started as a central breach of contract claim. Now one defendant is in the DOJ, 3 attorneys. Very scary, isolating. I don't know what you're going through, man, but it sounds like a lot, and I'm sorry to hear it. Did you know? Did you know? Who used to do that? Did you know? Used to be a broadcaster that did that. Did you know? There's a significant government funding in the U.S. dedicated to helping people recover from transportation, primarily administered through the DOJ, and HHS pays for housing and mental health. I mean, there should be help, obviously. Here I am, Langhorne. Langhorne, we got one with a picture. I can't see it because it's small. Heather Kirby. She's all yours, brother. She's looking for a 49-year-old with a steady job. And she listens to high IQ outfits. Hint, do not feed the trolls. Yes. Their small accounts can negatively affect your algorithm and reach. Ignore them. Check the account before responding. I don't respond to them. Typically. Sometimes I do. I'm not worried about things like reach and all that. Not on Twitter. I don't really care about that. Trump is the dad. Paula White is the mom. Oh, okay. Are you employing your kids? You can pay them each $16,000 a year tax-free while reducing your own tax burden. DYOR, of course. Yeah, but I'd make them work if I'm going to pay them that much money. Holy mackerel, that's a ton. I've got 8 kids. What kind of money do you think this thing makes? How about Betsy Ross on the wall? Another seamstress. I ain't got no problem with Betsy. Baron, you were pumped today on Fleet. I laughed out loud at work. Just that you are in this world. Whatever that is. I think that's. Yes. I was pumped. Jacked. What if EK has been used by her mother unknowingly? Wild theory. Mom passes. EK claims this and is vindicated. One way of getting out of this mess. My mind is bending over this whole thing. Big fan of yours. Great job. Thank you. I don't know how innocent old Erika is. Susie Wiles and Erika look alike. Susie's dad, Pat Summerall, Lombardi connection. Susie's dad is Pat Summerall? Is that true? Is there that many victims? Find someone who's been helped. This is like the Somali daycare or call hospice, just money laundering, no services provided? Maybe. Good question. Devastating. Used to watch Jaco. Reports he got into anti-transport scene because his sister was a victim. Yeah. Maybe he was targeted by Philippa Laurie Associates. Please ask him for an interview. Thank you, Baron. Crisis King. Crisis King indeed. Please hit the like. I'm probably not going to ask him for an interview. Just, I don't really do interviews all that much. As a native, my vote for the black hole would be Jim Thorpe. I also like the current statement the whole makes. Yeah, I like the current statement the whole makes. Jim Thorpe's got a cool story, though. Did y'all see the other place that comes up first when searching the Way Ranch, Texas? wayranch.com. Says an invite-only getaway hill country. In hill country. Creepy if they're connected. Way Ranch, Texas. wayranchtexas.org doesn't give locale. See that. Yeah. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. Just common sensing it. Never says much. Actually, I'm just kidding. Sometimes she does. But thank you. But Baron, shall we open a nonprofit for finding fraud nonprofits? We need a good name. We do need a good name if we're going to do that. I'd have to think about that one. Yes, please do an interview with Jaco. I've been to several events and even spoke with his sister. Very sad how it all happened. I would just ask the only question I want to ask him is, did you vet this girl before you brought her in? Did you know? Does she still work there today? What did she do? Who recommended her? 6 months for EK to look like widow from Truth coming out? Yeah. Baron Franklin is a clue. Candace mentioned it in near 920 King Street in Delaware. You mentioned it tonight. Franklin, Texas. Franklin is important. I know that talent agency is supposedly headquartered in Franklin, Tennessee. Can't send the comment I want to send for some reason. Oh, I hate that. Email it to me. You got my email. I'm jaded, but yes, these kind of money is HT or rugs. Human transportation or drugs. Langhorn, the bros recognize. Salute, man. Yes, we do. We do. We get it, Langhorn. We get it. Must check out Dauntless Dialogue for sure. They allow free memberships, though $50 a year worth it. Beautifully created movies. Focus on topics we're questioning. Again, worth a look. Yeah, so that's a cool website. They have documentaries that a lot of them would not play on YouTube. They would be taken down. Hey, Baron, I put an underscore between my first and last because the first time you called me Terrell. Oh, fantastic work. Please coordinate with CO on time off. I can't do a day without one of you. Oh, you're saying we both shouldn't be allowed to take the day off the same day? I don't know that she would go for that. She'd say, who are you, peasant? I am the #1 podcaster in America. I will set my schedule, and you can or cannot work around it. That's your call. But I'll ask her, Terry. I'll ask her. I had vivid dreams about Charlie every night. At first, it felt random, but after I prayed for answers, they continued. Each dream shows tension at home, like Charlie knew too much about Erika in the end. I'm a big believer in dreams. Hold on to those. Keep tracking them. Sir Baron, the way you say Jaco Booyens is hilarious. Tim Tebow's wife is also from South Africa. South Africa was very involved in the Angolan War. My dad talks a lot about the French Foreign Legion. South Africa may be a place you want to look into. Yeah, there was a lot going on down there. No doubt about it. Did I just read? We're going to add a single section to the Discord. Would love to meet our BPP and followers. Great idea for singles. Oh, are you guys adding a mingles section on the Discord? That's a good idea, actually. Podcast mingles. Where did I live in PA? Carlisle, PA. Kind of right in the middle of the state, but a little south. Cumberland County. I was told if you copy the redacted JE file portion and paste to a Word doc, it shows up as a readable text. Can you try? I think they fixed that. I think that was the case for like an hour. Steve Harvey's face was like, what the heck? It's a serious subject, I know, but his expression had me cracking up. It's because he's hilarious. Money is incentive in Texas if you file LLC for facility to help at risk instead of nonprofit. Oh, I see what you're saying. It pays better to be an LLC in Texas. Why all the abused must be young girls? I think demographically they're more likely to be the abused. Money is the basis of all evil. I could never be charged with being evil. This is for sure. God bless you, Baron, and your family. Thank you. I'll allow it. I saw AK and BN. That'd be Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff Speed on Megyn Kelly, and AK is looking extremely tired and run down. Even his color was pale. Maybe you're getting through to him. Andrew, stop fighting Christ. You need to turn around and fight the demons that are on your shoulders and come to the light, brother. Come to the light. You know what's going on. You know. Free yourself from that burden, brother. Hi, Baron. How are you? I'm all right. It's almost 9 p.m. here in North Dakota, and I just woke up from a nap. I'll have to restart tonight's show. Hope you and your family have a good night. Yeah, it's 9:30 here. Survivor Testimonies via Imagination Podcast and Discovering Truth Network by Dan Duvall. Trafficking trans money are hidden in art sales about this embassy art. That's interesting you say that, because I've heard that art is just a money laundering operation. Yeah, I just said that. Carlisle, PA. Baron, did you know Trump has the road Mar-a-Lago closed? I did not know that. I don't blame him, though, if he's there. I feel so blessed to be able to gather with the community that desires truth over lies and love over hate. Psalm 97:10, Romans 12:9. Thank you for all you do, Crisis King. Thank you. EK's apartment was less than 1 mile from one of three of Einstein's condos. Also, emails from week of 9/11 were excluded from DOJ file drop. I made TikTok video, lawyer unredacted. I mean, to be fair, though, within a mile of one of his 3 condos is like all of Manhattan. I mean, he had 3 kind of spread out. And it's just not that big of a place. Kids in any facility worth $300 to $600 per day, or per diem, as they call it. Know this from my work over 30 years. So yeah, okay. I'll give you that. Grew up in Texas. Don't mess with Texas. HT between, human transportation between international shipping ports, international airports in Mexico, well known. Rumors of hunting people persists at ranches. That's just terrifying. Hunting people? Could Melania be DJT's handler? No. Hunting property. Of course, Georgia boy here. How are you from Tennessee and not know that, counselor? I mean, I know what hunting property is. I guess my brain doesn't work on the fact that humans might be the subject and not like deer and ducks. In 2014, I had an employee who dated a girl in New Mexico who worked for a rich man. She told him one night that they were hunting people. She was scared. Don't know what happened to her. I hope this is a joke. Too many of you mentioning this. Is there something to this? I hope it's a joke. Baron EK being on the Air Force board would also likely give her a security clearance. You got to earn your security clearance. You can't just be given it. Baron, speaking back to basics, do you know if Candace's lead on 12 Israeli cell phones ever panned out? Also, as always, good work to you and Daisy. I don't know how that ended up. You should look into In-N-Out Burger. They created a foundation to fight human transportation. EK loves mentioning how she eats there. Also, the hashtag In-N-Out was used to advertise who was selling. I was not aware. They just relocated their headquarters here. I hope it's a good organization. I'll be contacting Jaco about Jenna. Many don't know everything about their disgusting backgrounds. Yeah, you should. I have a 501c3 where we do ministry outreach, transitional housing for the homeless. Where's my mansion with staff and fighter jet? I must be doing something wrong. Love the show. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. You must be doing it all wrong because apparently having a 501c3 is the key to a mansion and a private jet. But Baron, I wouldn't mind meeting the gentleman from St. Louis looking to connect with someone. Keep up the good work. Shannon, my man's you got competition. I mean, we're already 3 or 4 deep, and I mean, he's got his pick of the litter. We need a mingle site on the Discord. Someone could pin that to the top of the chat. That would be ideal. Old men like you need magnifying glass to read the emojis. See, here's the problem. I have these readers, but they got to be up close to work. That far away, they don't work. Now Fleet's going to put me in readers with my walker. I actually own a walker. I had to use it when I broke my leg. I looked amazing. I looked 110. Will you wear hoodies in the summer? I live in AZ and we're hitting 100s next week. I mean, I've got air conditioning. Baron's Love Connection show. I would watch that too. Yeah, I would too. I would too. I mean, I wore hoodies in September when we started this journey. When Gus Girl complimented you on OS, she typed BWT, meant to say BTW. Oh. Okay. If redacted in Adobe, some were friended it. A friend said that watching Candace breeds division. She's shooting the messenger. People who seek the truth are never to blame for the division. The liars are. So who won? The liars won. Thank you, Baron and Daisy. Yeah, again, pointing out that someone is a pathological liar is not creating division. It's just identifying we have a real problem on our hands with somebody who's accruing real power. First super chat, thank you for saying Nevada correctly. Nails on chalkboard when it's said incorrectly. First world problems. Oh, it's Nevada. People. What do you allow your kids to watch and not? Do they get tablets, phones, and computers? How do you protect them online? So my older kids get phones. They get iPhones, and you can lock them down pretty good with the parental controls. Control how long they're on and what they're able to see and not see and that kind of stuff. I'm sure there's ways around it. I don't know. My younger kids don't get phones. We don't have tablets. They do watch some videos on the TV. We'll give them the remote and give them some electronic time here and there, but not a lot. I guess that answers your question. Dapper hair going on tonight. Oh, thank you. I didn't notice. Baron, may God bless you, your fam, those helping you, and even Tilly. Christ is King. Tilly, you're getting blessed. Don't let it go to your head. You still can't speak English. Please look at Victor Marks, deep in TPUSA in the HT world, and has HT-related orgs all over the world and now at home. He told Sean Ryan he was abused by a military stepdad who was involved in PSYOPs, now running for governor of Colorado. I get a lot of people who are really concerned by that guy. Is he running as a Republican? Because if so, it doesn't matter. He's not. Victor Marks, Republican. I mean, no Republican's going to win. Yeah, he's a Republican. Don't worry about him. That state is so gone. It used to be kind of purplish, and a Republican would sneak out a win every now and then. Not anymore. It's like Virginia. Gone. Baron, you're still going. Had dinner, watched Game of Thrones, and I still get to see you. Oh, love our community. Candace, Coach, Baron. Hey, you shouldn't have been interrupting the show. Game of Thrones can wait. It's over. You already know how it ends. Exactly right. Using angels as mockery. Pro-choice, my body, my choice. Christ, my body, take from it. Not a coincidence. International IMO. Oh, intentional IMO. Yeah, the making a mockery of the body and angels is not good. You forgot to add you told George Bush I love you. I did. Not my finest moment. Don't judge me by my lowest moments. That's not my lowest either. I've had worse. But don't judge me by my lowest moments. Judge me by me today. With EK's new appointment, yet another thing taken from CK. Would someone tell her that intelligence can't be gotten from injection? Read that all wrong. Dad and son was off in a car accident the same day as Charlie from Utah, but out of Utah. Not sure if anything would be good to check. I looked into that. I didn't find much. Same thing happened with the nursing home business in the early 2000s. Tons of government money available, and they popped up all over the place. Should have seen what was coming. Making sure you aren't developing Alzheimer's. 321. What does Kutgwa mean? Most blessings to RBP fam, especially Tilly and Daisy. God is the greatest. Kutgwa is keep up the good work. Alzheimer's free at 46. Glenn B has a connection to Jaco Booyens, pronounced Jaco, not Jaco, Costa Rica, pronounced Jaco. Oh. Was Lori not at Memorial because she's sick? I don't know. Was she not there? That would make sense. I mean, I don't know. Tell Daisy to stop refusing the raises you offer already. We're all in agreement. She deserves it. I've tried. Did you ever see my email on EKJE? If you send an email, it's been read. How did Charlie not know this? How did they keep it hidden? Mind control? I think the Mass and the Rosary was opening his eyes to the reality. I think you might be right. I think you might be right in that his maturation spiritually and just getting older and recognizing what's going on around you, I think it was opening his eyes to the reality. Also, Sandusky, not innocent IMO. I come from a big Penn State family. Keep up the good work. We are Penn State. I watched Sean Ryan show with Father Ripperger. Any thoughts on how to tell if someone in your life is possessed or influenced by the demonic? Yeah, the fruit. The fruit of their life. What's it like? On a recent show, you decided not to show a website due to pop-up clutter. The Brave browser suppresses pop-ups. Yeah, but it doesn't play well with StreamYard, unfortunately. That's the problem. But thank you. That's excellent advice. Leave Baron be about the cough. He's explained it 1,000 times. He's fine and healthy. Works out frequently like I do. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I don't mind people being concerned for my health. The cough's not going anywhere. I've lived with it for a long time. Jaco's absurd story on SH sounds like a revealing of the method, disguising crime ops as charity awareness efforts for those same crimes. Think about this. You guys like to rag on the church and other charities for criminally minded men who get into ministry and take advantage of their situation and go after the youth. It's tragic. It's horrific. It's happened. There's no getting around it. It's the same thing. You put on a suit. You go into the church. You abuse your position of authority. But for the people who are inclined to do those horrific crimes, the church was like a magnet. It gives you authority, prestige, shields you from being considered a suspect, and you get access to all these young people. It's demonic, but it's what happens. So why would somebody criminally minded say, I'm going to go in to be a minister, or I'm going to go in to be a school teacher, to be around little kids, or I'm going to go in to be this or that, but not also a subset of this same criminally minded group of sickos not say, I'm going to start a charity to be around these people. It's the same thing. Same thing. CK filed. Erika deception, divorce filing 4 days before. If you can't send me the divorce papers, don't say that, because I have not seen them. I've seen 1,000 people telling me they exist. I think of all people, a Candace Owens, a me, a Ian, somebody would have gotten a copy of this by now if they existed. So repeating things that we hear is not helpful. It's not helpful. I'm not trying to rag on you. But when you say something, there's got to be documented proof. That's why half my show is just me pulling up documents, because I want what I say to be accurate. 12/28/22 is my 34th birthday. Great sobriety date. Well, thank you, Michael. I had no idea I was celebrating your birthday. I celebrated really hard that day. By the way, F1 Mercedes will beat Ferrari this year. Yeah, I think Leclerc with a better pit strategy on the safety car might have won that race, but I had no idea how fast the Mercedes were when I made my Ferrari prediction. It's a 2-horse race. I don't think any other car is going to, unless they change the regs. They're talking about changing the regs potentially after the second race, after China this weekend. I don't think, absent a reg change, they're going to, anybody else going to be competitive. I think Ferrari and Mercedes will win every race, and Mercedes may win a lot more. Good call. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Very kind. I still can't lose the image of EK possibly sitting in a plane watching the whole thing happen, Situation Room style, so chilling and disturbing. Yeah, I've not given up on Andrew's plane timing. I've got new information. I already have details about the 100 beds in Texas, and it links to human transportation in Guatemala. DM me. I'm not going to DM you. I have no idea how to DM you. You send me what you have to realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. I'll put the banner on. Realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Right there. I can't go around DMing people. I don't know how to DM people on YouTube. But B, if you have something, send it to me. Don't ask me if I want to see it. Just go ahead and send it. If I don't want to see it, we'll just delete it or look past it or move on. But I'm happy to look at it. If you want that information out, send it to me. Baron, we're making a single jury section on our Discord. Tell all the thirsty turtles to take a cold shower. Be patient. Hey, Whitney, will you pin that Discord link to the top of the comments, please? Regarding link CK sister in your his official filing. I don't know what that means. I feel nauseous because the info you shared has caused me to connect the dots on significant other I know of. There's just too many coincidences for me to dismiss. I will send you the info when I figure out the most secure way to send it. So here, just common sensing it. Get in touch with me via email. I know who you are. We've emailed back and forth before. Email me, put in the subject line, it's me, just common sensing it. I'll find that email and then I'll respond, and we can come up with a secure way to communicate. My husband passed 3.5 years ago due to a motorcycle accident on his 47th birthday. The vibes aren't vibing for me. Still working through grief. My youngest was 12 at the time. We can't stand E. I've said, thank you for that, by the way, Jennifer. The biggest obstacle Erika has in this entire charade is that women who have lost a husband aren't buying it. They're not buying it. That's the biggest obstacle she has. A pretty girl can pull the wool over 90% of men's eyes. She has no trouble with the dudes. But women, particularly women who are widows, they're not buying any of it. Our friend is full of baroni. I like that. I will allow that. Husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's 2020. He and I quit. He recently passed. I don't feel the need to start again. Juice not worth the squeeze. Congratulations. Welcome to sobriety. I'm sorry you lost your husband. That's thank you for sharing it with us. I know when I have bad news or something that hurts me, and if I share it with somebody, I feel a little better. So hopefully you benefited from that just then. I was just thinking you needed a Duke blue hoodie. Thanks for everything you do. Jesus loves you. The greatest Duke game ever was the it was the Sweet 16 game in 2002. Indiana beat Duke. Duke was the number 1 seed. Indiana beat Duke and went on to the final game and lost to Maryland, unfortunately. But that was a great night. My Instagram algorithm was attacked yesterday after watching CO show. Accounts I don't follow feeding the CO is evil narrative every third post. I had to reset my algorithm. That's crazy. All that from one show. This is making my great state of Texas sound bad. So bad. So sad. Texas has a lot good going. I hopped on the lives to de-stress. Baron calls my nurse. Oh, thank you, Forever Strong Mom. I hope I have that effect on everybody. I met government grants for nonprofit Easy Money. Oh. Trump is to Scavino as Lori is to Erika. I don't know how anyone could staunchly stand up for Jaco. Jaco was losing money in his nonprofit until Lori came around. I love your show. I just want you to say my name aloud. Befuddled by Daffodils, because the first time I heard it, I loved it. I'm a boomer, so I don't know all the proper lingo for stuff. At Befuddled by Daffodils 0910. Peace and love to everyone in Jesus' name. I'm going to assume you meant amen and ran out of characters. Amen indeed. Langhorn, but Baron, I'm in Indiana. 49W, single, and love RBP. He's created a monster. He's going to be swimming in it. Jaco and LF have the same nose. Oh, Jaco and Lori have the same nose. He's South African, though. I doubt there's much of a connection there. For the low, low price of $500, you can find love on a Baron podcast. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even connect the $500. Maybe these women are like, well, if he's got $500 to throw away on a YouTuber, maybe he could probably take pretty good care of me. I'm kidding, ladies. Calm down. Calm down. Baron, I think an easy response they could say as an explanation about why they're always neck deep in high transportation areas is that those are where the help is needed most. Well, then say it. Don't hide it. Because a couple of these have been hidden and not advertised. Jaco, Costa Rica, this deal with Yaka. Thank you, Baron, the magnificent mods in the Coleman community. Please know that everyone is always on my prayer list. Love to you all. Thank you. I'm currently driving through Coleman, Texas. It is a beautiful, peaceful, safe-looking town named after one of my favorite podcasters. I'm not going to take credit for the name of the town. That said, I can only imagine how amazing it is. Sounds brilliant. Everybody there is just slightly above the IQ mean. Just slightly above. Everyone I ask in person believes they've seen the gun that offed CK. The news people watch is pure poison. It is indeed. I used to donate to a charity called Covenant House with both hands. Wouldn't you know there was tomfoolery? That's unfortunate. No joke. Guy was scared when he told me. I hope that didn't have to do with Langhorn. Rothschilds held hunting events. Look it up. I'm scared too. I'm scared too. You guys are terrifying me tonight. You guys have got me in some kind of way. Prayers for Charlie's soul 6 months yesterday. It was 6 months yesterday. I saw all his tributes pouring in. Some of them were quite beautiful. I believe the Einstein files did seem to allude to hunting people on the island. Really? Did it? Send me that. Texan here too. Corrupted rich men and evil deeds at hunting ranches is not a joke. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I'm just going to assume this is a terrible rumor that's gotten out of control. That's what I'm going to assume. Because my heart can't handle the thought of some child running for his life whilst people fire at him. And my heart can't handle that. Ever looked into Victor Marks? Been following him for years. Always thought he was great. Helps orphans, transportation victims, but wife was one of the first people to visit EK after the assassination. I did look into him at first. The first time a listener mentioned his name, this was 3 to 5 months ago, probably. I did look into him, spent a day or so researching him. A little weird guy, sure, but eventually I thought, why am I going to waste time on this guy? He's not going to win. No Republican is going to win in Colorado. It's not going to happen. Thanks, Baron, for uttering Falcon Crest. I haven't heard that since I was a remote control turning the knob for my mom. My mom used to watch Falcon Crest. My mom used to watch it. Dallas, Falcon Crest. I think they came on back to back or something. She watched a show called All My Children with Erika Kirk. Yeah, oh, yeah. I remember all of them. Mom. Not getting that past me. That's embedded deep in this computer up here. Must be more info video out there. Shows CK fighting back. Please don't let that go. Find EK said, what would she say to younger self? Don't do coke funny. Okay, so I do have, about the video, I mean, we can only imagine that there's dash cam footage of whatever was happening. So, as for the EK thing, I'm going to absolve her of this. I went back and found that post. Erika asked a question. This is a common thing on Instagram. You ask a question, you leave a little space where people can type in their answer. She said, what would you say to your younger self? And then what she did was she went and posted all of the answers. And so, yes, there was an EK entry that said, what would you say to your younger self? Don't do coke. But what that means is one of her friends said that. And she just posted that answer. So I'm going to absolve her of that. I want to be fair to her. I'm not one of those people that just piles on just because I think somebody deserves it. I want to be fair. It's finally picture week at the fort. I can feel it. I want to hear her say she wasn't there. Yes, St. Catherine Drexel. I live by her shrine. We have an image. We have an icon of St. Catherine Drexel hanging in our house. That's why I'm familiar with her. I live by her shrine that they sadly sold. Do we have one of St. Catherine Drexel? Actually, hold on. I'm thinking. We got a bunch of icons in our house. Let me think. Upstairs. No, it's not. It's Kateri Takawitha, not Catherine Drexel. That'd be a cool one to get, though. I live by her shrine that they sadly sold. Where can I find your email? Right here. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. It's also in the show description. If you guys ever can't find it or can't remember it, I get a lot of comments in the videos. Well, I need an email. Go to the YouTube. It's in the show description. Like if you go to the channel description, it's in there. Where can I find your email? I also have a degree in microbiology, not just accounting. Wow, you are a nerd. Huge nerd club member. Yes, that's true. In good company. Your vitamin D deficiency you mentioned. Please get your methylation profile checked. I can email. I don't have vitamin D deficiency. I supplement all during the winter, and I spend a lot of time outside during the summer. Anytime I've had my vitamin D checked, I'm like 50 to 90, sometimes 60 to 100 up in that range. I've got pretty good vitamin D, even in the dead of winter. Now, the reason I supplement so heavily, Melinda, I was trying a case in Georgia. This would have been 2014, maybe. I was supposed to try a case in Georgia. It was supposed to start on Monday. Like the prior Monday, I had got the flu. Bad case of the flu. This was 2014 because I got the flu when Auburn was in the national championship game against Florida State. That Monday night, I came down with it and I was obliterated. And I had to try a case starting the next Monday. And I thought, oh no, I'm sick. And so I went to the doctor. Normally I don't go to the doctor for the flu, but I thought I've got to figure out there's something I can take. And they took my vitamin D levels. It was 9. Luckily, I had a good doctor, and she was like, look, the flu is vitamin D deficiency. If you keep your vitamin D levels high, you might still get the flu every few years, but it's not going to hurt you that bad. You'll be back at it before too terribly long. If you have low vitamin D and get the flu, you could die. And I was like, what? She's like, look, the sun, you can't get it from the sun during the winter. Halloween to Easter. Now, I'm in the northern hemisphere, so you You South Africans reverse it. Australians reverse it. But September, the Halloween to Easter, you have to supplement. And so I've been taking the vitamin D and K2, D3 and K2 since then. And I have very high vitamin D levels. So I don't know where you got the idea I was deficient. Looking at Laura's property, she seems to transfer ownership back and forth frequently from what I'm seeing. Interesting. I was unaware. I felt creeped out that In-N-Out was asking for donations for transportation. First I heard of that. Also, they have a Bible verse on their cup. I feel like a lot of bad stuff hides behind Bible verses. Do they have Bible verses on their cup? I wasn't aware. Can't remember who covered it the other day. Maybe Ian, some rich guy accused of hunting children via helicopter in Africa. What? Guys, tell me all this stuff isn't true. Please. Like, I could cry. That's so tragic. The abuse of children and vulnerable adults gets covered up quietly because the government can't admit they missed it, or worse, were in on it. I think that's the bigger problem. The cost of your soul, 501c3. Well, unfortunately, some people. Divorce filings by Charlie and his lawyer were probably seen by someone in government and then intercepted, and they tipped off Erika. I'd like to see these filings. Filings are public records. Saying hi to Langhorn. Happily be his girl, but I live in Australia. Love your work, but married too. He didn't say he wouldn't move, Amanda. Though, if we're being honest, I mean, moving here would be more fun. Langhorn lives in the Lou, I think. A lot of fun to be had there. Yeah, professional hockey, professional baseball. So it's a good town. That they got that big arch. You could go up there, look down. I mean, once you've done it once, but you could do it once. Beer, if you're so inclined. Anheuser-Busch people are there. Yeah, come on. If you guys make a love connection, come on over. Come to the States. You'll love it here. How do we join the Discord again? I don't know. Did somebody pin it to the top of the comments? I don't have the address. I know you have to make a Discord account, download the app, maybe in reverse order. Maybe download the app, then make an account. I have one, and I sneak in there, and I see you guys, but I don't know how to get to it. I don't know how I got to it the first time. I just, when I open, it's there. Shout out meant someone, SO meant someone, not significant other. Just be sure everyone's clear. Oh. Duly noted. My former spiritual director, Father Frank, was friends with Father Ripperger in Oklahoma and spoke very highly of him. Both very devout and holy men. I've always gotten that feeling from him. Not Father Frank, but Father Ripperger, I've always had high regard for. Reading the current economy, is it better to buy a house or rent? Looking for your thoughts. I can't give financial advice. I don't know. I mean, I tend to think houses are usually pretty good investments. You got to pay a monthly payment anyway. And, that said, if you rent and something goes wrong, they fix it. If you buy and something goes wrong, you got to replace the roof or you got to replace the air conditioning unit. So there's hidden costs associated with buying. But as long as you don't buy more house than you can afford, I think it's a pretty good investment in the long run. I mean, they go up and down. But over the long run, they tend to go up. If you buy in the right neighborhood and right part of town and all that. Hunting isn't rumor. Let's not downplay. Needs out. Send me information. I'd love to see it. No, I don't want to love to see it, but I'd love to see investigations about it. Baron, love your show. How crappy is it to appoint EK to an unearned position on Charlie Kirk's 6 months? Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Longhorn looking for love like naughty by nature. Down with RBP. Yeah, you know me. Yeah, you know me. Yeah, I like that song. Comes on in the gym every now and then. But Baron, cool man. Between you, Ian, and Candace, fam gatherings are going to be a blast. Hubby and I love to watch you, and we share a last name. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed, Mrs. Coleman. You're a different Mrs. Coleman, not the Mrs. Coleman that made some bomb coconut chicken last night. Holy man, coconut curry chicken was incredible. And today had some kind of spicy pepper chicken going and made some teriyaki chicken. I don't like chicken, so she knows you got to flavor it up in order for me to eat it. She's been on a run. You should have seen the vegetable medley she had going today. Brussels, broccoli, carrots, onions. It was excellent. Miss Coleman's the real deal. The real deal. Have you ever watched Surviving the Game? No. 1994 kind of makes sense. They always tell you what they're doing, hunting. Oh, I've not seen that. Read Transformation of America by Kathy O'Brien. She was hunted. She was a hunted child and said baby Bush was another child in the group with her. I'm probably not going to read that, for being honest. Okay, you're eating too many. You didn't get my joke, so I'll never send another one. But God bless you anyway. I don't know what that means. What am I eating? Oh, too many of the coconut things? Is that what you're talking about? I only had 3 today. And I have some coconut water. It's pure. My 60-year-old mom has been diligently catching up on every episode. Her birthday is coming up, so by the time she gets to this episode, I estimate it'll be her birthday. Would you please wish your detailed fan the best birthday? The best birthday, 60-year-old mom. I hope XXOOOXX4064 is an excellent son or daughter. And I hope you're having a wonderful birthday. Plot of Squid Games from Real Hunting on Islands. I've never seen Squid Games. Is that what the deal is on Squid Games? Knots Landing. Yes, I remember that. Simon & Simon. I don't remember that. Designing Women was great, by the way. What a great show Designing Women was. Read The Most Dangerous Game. No, I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read that. I'd rather see like a podcast about it or an article or something. I don't want to get too deep into it. That's creepy. 30-year-old drinking and drugging over half my life. What do I do to change it? Rehab didn't help. Counseling didn't help. Absolutely lost. Love your content. First, you have to admit you need help. Can't do it alone. Second, you've got to make a decision. Like you can't just willy-nilly go after it. You've got to say, I'm done. Third, you got to get all new friends. You can't go back and hang out with the same people. Just cut them out of your life. Be done with them. And then you just got to take it like one meal at a time. I'm not doing anything before breakfast. We'll talk about breakfast after breakfast. We'll talk about after breakfast at breakfast. Eat your breakfast. Made it through breakfast. We're going to lunch, boys and girls. Get to lunch. See how lunch goes. We're going to make it to dinner. And you just make your mind up one segment of the day at a time. And understand it's going to suck for a few days, maybe a week or two, but it will get better. Depending on how much you drink, you might actually need medical assistance. Don't die over it. But, benzos and alcohol can kill you coming off of. Everything else just sucks. Please don't assume it's not true. There's a video of a convenience store worker finding a truck full of those things as the driver was pumping fuel. It's been a few years back, devastating. Holy mackerel. I don't assume it's not true. I got to have some evidence. The royal family's long been known for hunting parties. Did you see unclothed boy jumping to his death from Windsor? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I don't want to. Wishing we could like these chats. So many heartfelt and make me laugh out loud. Very much appreciate. Jesus loves you. I've long thought that on YouTube. They need to have a way to interact with the chats. The coconut CKX comment was so funny. The coconut chicken curry comment was so funny. We won't appoint Mrs. Coleman. Yeah. Yeah. I made that on X last night. If you don't follow along, you should. Sarajevo Safari, 1992 to 1996. During the Bosnian War, reports suggested that foreign tourists paid to shoot at civilians in the besieged city of Sarajevo, as described on Wikipedia. It's got a wiki entry on it. OMG, Baron. Searching children. I can't breathe. That's so horrific, even if just remember. That's where I am. That's where I am. Like, I can't function thinking about that. It's almost one of those where you don't want to know if it's true. Guys, I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like. Now's a great time. Hit the like button. Share with your friends and family. Let them know what that you're informed and entertained. Subscribe, click notifications. And I appreciate you being here. It is Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow night. I will do a live member show probably Friday, almost assuredly Friday, and then take Saturday off. Shabbat shalom, right? Take Saturday off and then be back Sunday night for the big live show Sunday evening, probably 5 or 6 p.m. Sunday evening. So I don't quite know what time we'll go tomorrow night, but I appreciate you being here. I genuinely do. And I look forward to it every time. I do. I hate I have to take days off because I miss you guys while I'm gone. But in the meantime, you'll always know. Doesn't matter what's going on in the world. You will know. You'll know. Jesus loves you. Have a good night. Get a good night's sleep. Hopefully the daylight saving is not messing with you too much anymore. It's been a few days. You should be back at it pretty soon. Stay healthy, people. Stay healthy. Spring is coming. The days are getting longer. Everything's getting better. We'll talk to you soon.